preparing your squad.
It's only one big fella. It's only one big fella on here, and he know who he is.
Welcome to the panel, y'all. We got a lot to unpack from last night. Jokic with a 39-point triple-double masterclass. What's new? LeBron James has tied a legend with all-time game winners. We definitely got to talk about that. Speaking of LeBron, he had quite the day yesterday, huh? We might have some things to unpack there. And the Clippers have turned over a new leaf. It's looking kind of scary in LA, both sides of LA. But before we get into that, go ahead, big fella. You got something to say?
Oh, yes, I do. Very excited to talk about the Clippers today. I'm very excited to talk about the Clippers. You know, they got a lot of things going on that I like, man. Kawhi Leonard is starting to ramp up, you know, and he has a type of offensive play style that I like to call playoff proof. You know, when you have strength, size, mid-range scoring ability, that type of stuff translates to the postseason, you know. So very excited to talk about Kawhi today. Very excited.
Was Kawhi's game ever in question? I don't think his game was ever in question. Like I don't think anybody.
Chill, not this coming from you right now. You not right now. No, you not. I'm not saving
face. I'm not saving face. Whoa, Ox. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this correctly. Was Kawhi Leonard's game, when it comes to me, was his game ever in question? I never questioned his game.
Let me ask you a question because it sounds like you question his game, but then go back on it and say you're not questioning the game. You're just talking about availability, but then you use availability to question his game.
No, that's not what it was. It was availability, period. It was never his game, ever. Every time I talk to you, Ox, when it came to Kawhi Leonard, it was always, we've seen this movie before, and we know how it ends. That was always the case with me. Every time I talk to you, no matter how many times I watched the 1998 NBA Finals, and I rewind this shit 1,000 times, Jordan still steals the ball. No matter what I do, I can watch it 20 times.
Are you insinuating that we know what's going to happen this year?
But this is the leaf that I'm turning over with the Clippers. I'm just going to enjoy what I'm seeing right now. I'm not going to talk about what is inevitable. I ain't doing that. Nope. I'm talking about what I saw last night. I'm talking about the fact that in the third quarter, because I watched that Knicks game last night, and in the third quarter, they ran 3 straight plays going after Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Shamet. Right? OG Anunoby, we in the Matrix, don't forget. That's what we are on this show. And Shamet. And Leonard looked like Leonard. He was now don't get me wrong, he's not the athletic Leonard that was in 19 or in 21, but he can still get to his spots. He's still nice with the peel. I ain't doing he made a glass, and I ain't doing none of that. Nope. I'm just talking about his game. And what I saw last night, I was very impressed with what I saw last night. Very much so.
That's what's up. I love to hear that coming from you, Chill. I really do. Because you know what? I might have got it wrong, and I might be sensitive because I'm a Kawhi guy. I might have been sensitive to it, just being a Kawhi guy, but it seemed like you was, giving just downplaying Kawhi, and I'm just happy to hear the Kawhi praise from you, Chill.
Because I'm sick of what was continuously happening. It was we getting there, and then the car breaks down. We getting there, but the car was riding, and the car was riding great, and then all of a sudden it breaks down. And I felt like this is a reoccurring thing. I ain't had no problem with the car and how it looked. Car looks great. But ultimately, I ain't doing that though, Ox. I ain't doing that no more with
Chill. It sounds like you just turning it down for us though. Like deep down inside, you still feel that same way. You just turning the noise down just for us.
Bron, this all I'm doing. I'm just loving what I'm seeing from Leonard right now, and I want y'all to do the same thing.
Let's leave it at that.
Yo, check. We all straight.
That's all I'm doing.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. That's all I'm doing. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Leonard, and I'm digging what I saw last night from Ty Lue as a coach. He went to that small ball lineup because Zubac was having trouble with Cat last night, so he went to that small ball lineup of Leonard, James, Leonard Harden, Norman Powell, the left-handed kid, and
you talk about Derek Jones, right?
Yeah, the left-handed kid, Derek Jones, and I'm leaving somebody out. It was 5 of them. Nope, it wasn't Chris Dunn.
Coffee?
Nope,
Nicholas Batum.
That's who it was. Nicholas Batum. That's who it was. He went to that small ball lineup, and when he went to that small ball lineup, Tibbs had a hard time adjusting his defensive rotation because as soon as he went to Leonard, none of them dudes could match it. And I'm watching Mikal Bridges, and I'm like, all right, Mikal, I know how difficult it is to just slow a guy down, but can you at least stay in front of Leonard? He couldn't even stay in front of him. Neither could OG Anunoby. And OG Anunoby tried to get physical with Leonard. That didn't work because Leonard went to the weak hand, got in the middle of the lane, created some separation because Leonard is so damn strong. He built like a damn tight end. So whenever he hit OG Anunoby, he just got OG Anunoby off of him and created this much separation. And when he's 12 to 15 feet away from the basket, it's money. So after that, now the Knicks can't make shots. And then James Harden is just continuously feeding Leonard. And that was the ball game. It went from 6 to 12 to 20, just like that.
50% on turnaround fadeaways this season, by the way.
Money.
You know, like
money.
That's insane. That's
straight
insane.
money.
But
And Norman Powell was just Norman Powell, don't forget the 25 a game guy, he was taking what was left. Like whatever James Harden wasn't doing, whatever Leonard wasn't doing last night, he was just taking whatever was left. And I mean, that's a great problem to have. A great problem to have from them dudes.
So as of right now, the Clippers are in a 6 seed. And they would face a certain team that's the 3rd seed.
Which I got a question for you, Ron. I have a question for the panel. Is it ridiculous for me to think, because Mars already knows I already know how Mars feels about Houston. Is it ridiculous for me to think that the Golden State Warriors would stay in the 7th seed and risk a 1-game playoff with Minnesota to see Houston in round 1, as opposed to seeing Denver?
No, they wouldn't do that. Too risky.
Their record in the play-in is so bad. I don't think they'd want.
Yeah, Steph Curry's winless in the play-in. So
yeah, they haven't
not
won.
even because they're worried about seeing Houston. It's just they don't win in the play-in.
They have never won in the play-in.
So 0 wins in the play-in.
0. He's
one.
winless.
3 games. They're 0-3. I think.
So we don't want anything to do with.
They
the
lost to
play-in.
the Lakers.
I don't even think it's about a fear of Houston. I think Golden State thinks they beat Houston.
No, that's what I mean, Mars. It's not fear of Houston. We actually go into the play.
I'm saying that I don't think they would do that, not because they're trying to avoid Houston, it's because they don't want to be in the play-in.
It's just also better. You'll get 4 or 5 days of rest not being in the play-in too. Like that matters for an older team as well.
Sure, it does. That part I
don't
want
to be in the play-in.
I think Mars and I are confused. Mars, I don't think that they fear Houston. I think that they actually want Houston and want to avoid.
Yeah,
Denver.
I'm saying what you're saying. I'm saying they won't do that, not because they're scared of Houston. They won't stay at 7, not because they're afraid of Houston. They won't stay at 7, but they're not trying to stay at 7
because
they don't want to be in the play-in. So it's not about avoiding Houston; it's about avoiding the play-in. That's what I'm saying. They would happily play Houston if Houston were a 3. They would happily play Houston.
But then chill though, like, and I actually think that would kind of be a good move if they believe that they can beat I think
they can, Ron.
The Wolves.
I do. I know how you guys feel about it. But okay, I'm sorry.
What I'm saying, if they think they can beat the Wolves, which I believe that they think they'll beat the Wolves in 1 game. But look at the downside to it. We lose to the Wolves. I don't even think they'll lose 2 games. But my
then
thing
you
is
get
you lose to the Wolves and you get OKC in the 1st round. Woo!
Is it too risky?
I can make an argument though. The Warriors should feel more comfortable versus like the Wolves, the Rockets, and the Thunder than they would Denver.
They own the Wolves, if I'm not mistaken. They've beaten the Wolves.
I think matchup wise for the Wolves, for them, it makes sense for them. But we talk about this so much, man. Like matchups is everything. Like matchups is everything in the PCL, matchups is everything in the NBA playoffs, like matchups is everything in the play-in. I mean, I just think that like they feel comfortable because they feel like in that series they can deal with the physicality of the Wolves. They can deal with Rudy. Honestly, they can deal with Ant because they just feel like they got a bunch of wings that they can throw at him. They feel like Jimmy Butler. I mean, I don't know about y'all. Like, he's a coaster. Like, so he's going to coast in the regular season, but he doesn't coast in the playoffs if he's healthy. So, whatever that. No, but I mean, that's facts. Like, I don't.
I know
at
it
this
is.
point,
like, tired of hearing this, Wiper. I know it's a fact.
Well, I mean, what you want me to lie to you? Like, and tell you it's not true? He clearly is.
But the point is
18 points a game this year, 17.
Yes, and here's the thing. Like when he gets busy in the playoffs and he plays in the playoffs, then I gotta listen to shit like, yo, is he better than Reggie Miller? Yo, is he better than this dude? Like these dudes ain't coasting in the playoffs.
Yeah, he is better than Reggie Miller.
To be fair, Reggie was a playoff riser too. Like
he was, but he wasn't chilling in the regular season either.
But Jimmy did. I think
Jimmy.
I think Chill. We have to account for Jimmy has had a lot of knick-knack injuries he's had to deal with, and 2 regular seasons ago he was an All-NBA player, second team.
Sure.
The last 2 regular seasons he's been coasting, and I think in large part because being 34 now 35, I don't think you can just. He can do it in spurts, but I think generating that much energy to be a high-level scorer, plus all of the defensive things that he does, like Jimmy's floor is so high because he does everything super well. But the thing he cannot do super well over the course of a regular season is score at a high volume. Because he doesn't, his skill is so reliant on physicality when it comes to scoring. I think that takes a lot out of him. And I feel like, well, maybe, I don't know if y'all disagree with it. I feel like I probably have watched Jimmy most intently of anybody on the panel in the last 5 years, I would say. Because I like Jimmy. Like, Jimmy is like one of my favorite players. But I also know this is what comes with Jimmy.
Did you know that?
Quick question.
Well, I'm saying because
I'm guessing.
He believes in how much he watches Miami. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, I'm saying, like,
is this how you identify?
It might not be true. I'm saying it may be, and I'm saying
Is this how you identify?
Well, sure. The reason why I'm telling Chill this is because I feel like Chill's frustrated.
Okay, cool.
But I've heard so many other people say the exact same thing. Chill is that, like, why does he do this? Why does he take time off? Why does he have stretches for a month? We'll average 15, 16 points a game. Why does he have these stretches for 10 games?
While he's playing, by the way. He's playing. He's in the lineup, by the way.
The thing is his defense doesn't drop. His offensive output is what drops. I think that's what people have to understand with Jimmy. Jimmy will settle into a high-level role player role for however long. And I think if you get in a playoff setting, if you tell me if you got a one time versus Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, I think he'll box everybody out. There's an argument he can be the best player in that game. And so I think they will feel comfortable with that. I personally want to see the Wolves versus OKC, though. I think that first round matchup will be flowers. Like, Ant versus SGA, Rudy versus Chet and versus iHeart and all that stuff.
Conference finals we were supposed to get.
I would like that.
The matchup between Minnesota and Golden State, because I've watched those games between Golden State and Minnesota throughout the course of the season. And Golden State keeps the games close enough where when we get to the end, and you guys have known my philosophy about my best player is better than your best player, that's ultimately what happens, where Steph Curry, they still run their actions, they still run their same sets. Curry just delivers more than Anthony Edwards. And I feel like if they ended up in a one game, even though I know how you guys feel about the play-in, right? I know how you guys feel about the play-in, and the history of the play-in says the Golden State Warriors do not want to be in the play-in, no matter who they have, no matter who they're going to go up against. When I've seen Steph Curry against Minnesota, he creates shots for other people, even guys like Gary Payton getting layups around the rim, because he attracts so much attention, especially at the end of the game when he gets going. And unfortunately for Ant, I think he's outplayed Ant at the end of games, and I think that would be the difference in them beating Minnesota, which would now. That's why I don't have a problem risking it, because I do think that they could beat Minnesota, and I think it works out for Minnesota too, because I think they beat Houston in round 1, so I think that's a better matchup for them.
Do you believe that Minnesota could also beat them?
Yeah,
the Warriors is who he's talking about.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, 100%.
No, I'm talking about OKC.
Oh, God damn.
They could. Yeah, they could.
Could Minnesota beat OKC?
Yeah, they show up. I mean, you got a chance. Yeah, for sure.
If they're shooting,
realistically,
if Julius Randle maintains what he's doing, yes,
he's been solid. Yes, he has.
But if Naz Reid, if he does what he does to OKC, both of those things happen. Sure, but
and OKC fall off a cliff. Yeah,
I mean, but that's the thing.
They would have to swipe it. It would have to go the other way in order for
OKC.
The
difference with the Wolves is, this is why I keep telling people about the Wolves and why I packed everybody up, in the PCL the other day about the Wolves. There's just a way that they can deploy their unit that is very specific, where they can at the same time be a switch everything heavy team and still have the best drop big in the sport that can rim protect better than anybody else in the sport. And Mars, who obviously is not a fan of Rudy Gobert, Rudy's had an elite defensive season this year, post the injuries and all that stuff, and prior to the injuries. I just think, man, they have certain ways they can defend them, and where they don't have to throw a bunch of people at SGA, because they can just say, look, Nikhil, that's your cousin, go stick your bloodline. Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels. Look, Naz Reid, because he's long, he can move, but like now at that point you got to help. But you got to do what, but you got to live with something. Like,
sure,
I think SGA's probably going. That's a cool 31, 5-6, and you live with it. but can you defend J-Dub well off ball with Jaden McDaniels, with Anthony Edwards?
I think
And I want to stay right here. I want to stay right here, but because you brought up Rudy Gobert, quick side note for you guys. Please, I'm asking you guys up here. Please start watching this kid, Alex Sarr. That's all I'm asking y'all to do. Please start paying attention.
Just watch
them.
them. Not watching them again.
Please start watching them.
this weekend.
That's all I'm asking you. That's all I'm asking.
We got some good rookies. Modest Zealous turning
that's
up. Zachary.
And I want to get back. I want to stay on the topic. I do want to stay on the topic, Swiper. I don't want to. I don't want to because you.
You don't want to talk about Matas, but you want to talk about Alex.
All I'm saying is just start paying more attention to this kid and watch.
I forgot John D swings both ways here.
But
I don't know what we're talking about. All I said,
go ahead,
Chill. As an NBA fandom.
All right, Bulls fan. All right, go ahead, Chill. Yes. What were you saying?
So back to what we were talking. I just think that if they ran up on Oklahoma City, I think that their defense would cause so many more problems for that flawed offense that Minnesota has. I can understand Nas. I can because I can understand Nas.
They haven't been all that flawed as of late. You know, they've been good. The offense has been good.
They're one of those. They're one of those offenses that they're really good, but you can expose some deficiencies and make them really bad. And especially if you got Nas Reed cracking the long ball as much as he cracks the long ball and pushing him away from the basket. I think that Oklahoma City can do a really good job at that. So I don't think they smoked Minnesota, but I do think that I think that this is a series where they could handle Minnesota.
I would say a close 5. I would say a really close 5 games. 5-6 games. I don't think it'll go to 7. Yeah, I think OKC has one. They have enough guys they could throw in, whether it's Caruso, Kaysen, Lou Dort, J-Dub. The way they blitz pick and rolls, Hiles ain't going to be able to deal with that. They make really quick rotations. Their minutes without SGA in the lineup has also gotten a lot better.
Oh my gosh.
So I just, I would rather take OKC in that series.
Y'all play 2K? Y'all play 2K? Anyone up here play 2K?
Yes.
My NBA and 2K. So I was trying to create some. I was trying to actually create some content on 2K yesterday, and I ended up doing like 6 sims of the season from today all the way through, and I just wanted to see what would happen. And I'm gonna tell you this: every single time the OKC Thunder won the championship, it was because they did not have to go through either Boston or Minnesota. Every time they went up against one of those two teams, they lost. Minnesota actually won the championship 4 times in my 6 sims, despite being the lower seed. So I'm just saying, I don't know what 2K knows. 2K logic kind of dumb. I'm gonna tell you something, Swiping. You're gonna be real happy. Nikola Jokic made first team all defense every single time.
As a guy that plays,
so that's to be enough to know right there. We need to just leave 2K out of this.
As a guy that keep going 2K a lot, as a guy that plays 2K a lot, they genuinely have the Knicks and the Wolves go to the finals a lot, and Jokic and Trae Young gets generated on the All NBA first team almost every time, and Jokic gets generated on the defensive first team almost every time. It's nothing.
John, I don't think
I
was
crying when
this might be just as bad. This might be just as bad as getting your news from Instagram.
You know
what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, John D? Like this might be
worse.
just as bad, if not worse. You know what I'm saying? Getting your real
Luka
news.
Pen, how does that work?
I'm not on Instagram. You should use Instagram and TikTok.
I'm not a video game guy. Pen, how does that work? How do you simulate who can win the championship? How do you
I got the monitor right here. We can do it,
bro. Like you used to play video games.
Okay, hence the term "used to," which means in the past.
When did you stop? When did you stop? 2015. 2015.
No,
come on,
I don't even. I wouldn't even know how to.
Why? Well, chill. Did you play any sport?
I've never played any PlayStations. I don't even know how to operate it. To be honest with you, I don't.
So someone got.
I am in the dark when it comes.
Okay,
to
so
you remember that Super Nintendo?
I got it right here. I got it right here.
You would love it. You could actually play out your fantasy. You could actually play Jokic versus Wilt and see how that would actually fare out according to a video game. It's kind of cool. So I mean, it allows you to sim. Like it gives you all these updates. It updates the rosters to this day. It updates the season to this day, and then you sim out the next 10 games to see how the playoffs go. I mean, the seedings are very accurate. The ratings are. I mean,
no, they're
generous.
not accurate. There's way too many.
The
90s.
ratings are generous.
Way too many 90s now.
I agree. I agree.
Mars, on 2K, Mars, are the teams that are winning in the simulations? Are these the teams that are based more on are favorited in like the analytics?
No.
I couldn't tell you how they decide wins.
I'm just saying like are the teams that the analytics favor, are they the ones that win in the simulations? No. Okay. I'm just trying to figure out the 2K algorithm. That's all.
It doesn't make sense.
The algorithm is whatever they feel like having work. I don't know
because it's like if you sim to the next season, the Celtics are going to win like 41 games.
Not really.
Not like
how do you determine that though?
Celtics. I don't know how they determine it. I mean,
there are certain engine play type engines that the way they have built their algorithm that they lean into in terms of like if you're a defensively led team and you have like 3-point shooting, or if you're like a guard archetype like SGA, but Luka, if you sim enough, probably until this year, if you sim through a whole season, Luka, I would bet you 6 or 7 out of 10 times is going to win MVP on the basis of how he plays and where he plays on the court. Because
how long does the simulation take? It's like instantaneous, or you got
it takes like 10-15 minutes to just
because you got to stop and like GM wants to talk to you. You know,
every
what's the name? Morale's low.
You play my GM. Go straight in my NBA.
I want to
go to my NBA era. You don't got to.
Oh yeah, I ain't doing all that. I tried to do one as the Suns. Tried to go get the Suns, Jalen Green, mental for KD.
Y'all waiting 15 minutes for this?
It don't take that long.
You can get through a season in like
you can make a whole baby in 15 minutes.
Or you could get through an NBA simulated season 3 times.
Hey, let's get off 2K. I don't know how we got here. But either way it goes, let's get back to the Clippers though. We talked about the Clippers, and I just wanted to. So James Harden has it rolling. Norman Powell's back. Zubac's been fantastic this season, and Kawhi Leonard seems to be a good version of himself. How are we feeling about the Clippers nonetheless?
I was right about the Clippers preseason. They can beat anybody.
Rockets.
They're that good.
Anybody.
Okay, not anybody.
I'm sorry.
But they can beat a lot of teams. They can beat in the top 5. I think they can. Man, y'all tripping.
If they ended up in the 8th spot,
Ox twin, they can beat the Lakers too. Twin.
If they ended up in the 8th spot, the Oklahoma City Thunder are not walking past them. If Leonard can stay healthy.
What version of Harden are we getting? That's the real question. Is he going 5 for 15 like 3 times in that series?
Well, if that happens, Mars, they're getting smoked.
Did I just watch the OKC Thunder smoke this team, beat this team at least without Chet Holmgren, without Jalen Williams, while Gilgeous-Alexander had like one of the worst shooting nights of his season, and they still beat him
though. Chris Dunn effects, yeah.
And they shut the door. They shut the door on him late in the 4th quarter, and not just that last possession, like the last 5 minutes of the game, he didn't really do much.
I trust any team that defends as well as the Clippers do. I'm gonna be honest. Like defense travels on the road. You the road team. You the team that's got to win on the road at least once. If you're a good defensive team, I'll give you a chance.
Man, you're not beating me with iso ball no more. I'm sorry, bro. I'm just not getting beat by that 4 times in the series, maybe twice, but you're not beating me with that no more. But shout out.
You see how James Harden really good isolation.
Yeah, I'm talking about playoffs though, bro. Like it's a different. I'm saying that's why I'm asking. What version of James am I getting? Me as a James Harden supporter, am I getting like efficient James Harden? Then yes, especially in the games. But if I'm getting like James Harden, who is relying on 3-point shot that's not falling because he can't get by you, and then I'm also relying on the fact that he has to like bait fouls, which is within his thing, then I don't know. And then on top of that, like that's not disrespect, but baiting fouls is a part of his game. Austin Reaves, Luka Doncic.
No, but you just described James Harden. That's his
I know
game.
I did. I know.
He relies on threes and getting
right. But I'm saying like if he's not making those shots, yeah, I mean, it might be over. It might be over.
Bro, you watch James Harden play long enough, you start thinking the rest of the league is just stupid because you see these guys just leaning their hands, and you're like, why are you not pulling your arm up, baiting that foul? You know what I mean? You watch any other basketball player play basketball, and you start comparing them to James Harden, you just assume everybody's stupid.
Well, I see a lot of people do it now. Honestly, I saw Jokic do yesterday. I mean,
he does it every
James
time.
Harden.
Well, Jokic has been trying to get them 3 free throws for years, and I don't know if he's ever got it, but he's been trying.
So
I respect the effort.
Cause he just he'd be on the block, he'd throw the ball up and just lay down on you. Just throw the ball up all over.
Who you talking about? Which part are you talking about?
You know who I'm talking about. So
he falls on the ground? No, I've never seen that. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I didn't say fall on the ground. I said
fall. You said fall on the ground. That's what you said.
Fall all over you. You heard what I said. And you know what I'm talking about too. Because you see it all the time.
I appreciate how James Harden is controlling the pace of the game when the game slows down. I appreciate that with James Harden, and he knows when to get Leonard involved in the game. He also knows when to get Norman Powell involved in the game, and he keeps Zubac engaged. I like that about him, and I also like how Ty Lue uses his rotation. Now, if they end up playing Golden State, I think that they could cause a lot of problems on the perimeter offensively because, sure, Gary Payton is one of the better on-ball defenders, from 94 feet. I think it's going to be difficult to try to slow down James Harden because James Harden is really good with the basketball when playing against a guy like Gary Payton, because I feel like he could get him off balance. Now, as far as Golden State having to deal with their bigs, like I think Zubac can have a great series, and I think he could dominate that series. Now, the question is, can Leonard outplay Steph Curry? Because if Leonard can outplay Steph Curry, I think they could beat the Warriors.
You talking about in the plan?
No. Where are they?
They wouldn't see them in the playoffs. Hold on, let me pull up the playoff picture right now.
It's Denver and the Clippers. I'm sorry, it's Denver and the Clippers. But if they had to see them in the play-in, that's what I'm thinking about. If they had to see them in the play-in, because the play-in is from 6, 7, and 8 is only separated by what, a half a game. So today they're in the 6th spot. On Saturday they could be in the 8th spot. That could happen. They're only separated by a half a game. So it's not like there's a huge separation like what's going on in at the top of the Western Conference with Oklahoma City, who's 12 and a half games ahead of Houston. So that's not going on. It could change. It could change in 2 days. So Golden State is not locked in that 6th spot. I mean, the Clippers are not locked in that 6th spot, and Golden State is not locked in that 7th spot, and Minnesota is not locked in that 8th spot. No, we still got a lot.
We're hoping that Golden State is locked in that. You know what I'm saying, 7 or 8 spot. But either way, there's, what I was going to say anyway, Chill, is that there's only one team besides the Clippers that needs to get that 8 seed to take down the 1 seed. And we all know who that is. All 7 of us up here know.
Is that the Sacramento Kings?
We're not going to get into it, though. We talked about it.
I mean, we talk about the playoffs. Let's talk about it. Because as of right now,
all these teams, except for the Suns, could beat OKC. The 7, 8, 9, and 6 seed could be OKC.
And just so y'all know, before we go any further, I did not watch that Celtic game. The reason why I know as much as I know about the Celtics because Jason Tatum is very rarely out of the lineup. The only reason why I watch the Celtics is because of Jason Tatum. When he doesn't play, I don't watch them. So let's dead the whole Chill as a Boston Celtic fan. No, he is not. He's a Jason Tatum fan. That's the only reason why I watched him. So.
All right, fellas, this is what we're looking at out east. Starting at the bottom, or out west. Starting at the bottom, you see that there's a tie with the Suns and the Mavericks. But the Suns have the tiebreaker, so they are the 10th seed. Anthony Davis is playing tonight. So we'll see what happens with that. Suns obviously got mopped last night. But then we have the Kings, who are, for some odd, strange reason, doing their best to get the 10th seed. And then we talked about Minnesota, the Warriors, and the Clippers. They are the 8th, 7th, and 6th seed. Then we have the Memphis Grizzlies and Lakers tied for 4 and 5. Then the Denver Nuggets at 3. Then you have the Houston Rockets, who are looking like they're pretty comfortable there in the 2 seed, and we don't really have to even discuss the top.
Mars, you got to start talking about these Rockets, yo. I mean, I know how you feel about them in the playoffs. I do. And I understand the offense isn't exactly up to snuff, and you got some issues with Jalen Green. But, I mean, we're getting closer to the playoffs, and this team is starting to come together more and more. They're starting
offense
to look better.
Isn't up to snuff. That is putting it very kindly.
Sure, it is. 100%. I mean, I'm not going to say they're awful, even though they are. But
you should.
even though they are.
Keep it real, OG. Keep it real.
I'm just saying the offense isn't very good, but it's good enough, and it's good enough.
What?
It's good enough to
Exactly.
score. It's good enough to score enough points for them to win. It's good enough.
In the regular season, yeah.
Because
Sure.
they're
I have to give them more credit.
They're the 20. What is this? 30, 29, 28, 27. They're the 26.
We're like 26 in half
in shooting.
offense.
But yeah, shooting. Like they don't make shots. They're right above where the Brooklyn Nets are and below where the bum Raptors
it's incredible that, and because Mars, you are the epitome of
Raptors.
Mars, you ran down to me. I vividly remember you running down to me when Bill Russell got on the Celtics, where they were in offense. Well, let's fast forward to the last 5 years. Mars, can you tell everybody where the Miami Heat were in the in offense in the last 5 years? They weren't very good over the last 5 years. They were
and then they started shooting 40% from three in the playoffs. Yeah, so
right. And
unless that's what you're projecting for the Rockets, it's not really comparable.
I'm not saying that they're going to shoot 40% from three, but we've seen teams that weren't very good in the regular season get much better in the playoffs offensively with the favorable matchup. We have seen that. Is that not a fact? So
are you projecting that for the Rockets?
I'm projecting that the Rockets, as good as they are on defense, I'm projecting that with a favorable matchup, Jalen Green could surprise.
Who's the favorable matchup?
Memphis, who they're not going to see, but against who they're not going to ultimately see. But yes, Memphis. I think that's a favorable matchup.
I've been saying Memphis is the one team I would choose if as a Rockets guy. I would choose Memphis. That would be the one I'd want to see.
I just think that I think that this team. I know you don't expect them to do much, and I get that because they're young and their offense is not as good as it should be. But when we get in a playoff series, I feel like when we get in a playoff series, you saw it yourself with Miami. Miami never shot that good, ever. They get in the playoff series against Milwaukee, and they could beat the 2001 Lakers. I'm like, what the hell going on?
The year before, they were really good.
But how often does that happen, though? Like, how often do teams just explode for 3-point avalanches like that?
They had real 3-point shooters, though. The Rockets don't have those players.
Memphis has fallen all the way from 2nd to 5th. And yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, Desmond Bain was seen shoving Santi Aldama
against the Jazz.
I saw that.
So, I mean, is this a team that could maybe have some late game struggles?
But I think any team
fall into the play-in.
Any team,
they're 3 games away from the play-in.
They're 3 games out. Is it ridiculous?
They'll be fine. There's like 10 games left. They'll be fine. I think.
I think every
Ja's been in and out of the lineup.
has fell from 2 to 5. Like
that went from 2 to 5, but that was like a 2-game difference.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm saying, like, I don't think
it's a 3-game difference in the play-in.
Yeah, but there's only 10 games left.
Ja's been in and out of the lineup.
Ja doesn't make a difference for them. Like, they win without him, they win with him.
Hang on. They actually have some head-to-heads with teams that are directly behind them. So Memphis has Minnesota. They have Golden State. They have the Lakers. They have Denver. They have. So they might. Okay, they might.
Schedule.
They might. Okay.
For real.
And also worth noting, they have the 5th hardest schedule remaining.
Interesting. Okay, never mind. My fault, Memphis.
I mean, Denver ain't gonna play nobody, so that's a win probably.
Yeah, you can still win without.
Denver has the 11th hardest schedule.
Yeah, but they're not.
Denver,
they're chilling.
Yeah, this West is gonna come down to the wire. That's what I'm saying.
They got OKC tonight.
Besides OKC just chilling.
Who got OKC tonight?
The Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies got.
Swiper, why wouldn't Denver play anybody? I mean, it's not like you got this thing.
It's not about seeding with them.
I don't put a lot of weight into regular season matchups and success, but would you believe that there's 2 teams in the league that have beat the OKC Thunder twice this year? Do you know who they are?
Hold on. Well, the second one is
Minnesota's one of them, and Denver's
yeah.
I think the Warriors.
So Minnesota's the other one. Okay.
No, the Warriors will beat them like twice.
The Warriors beat them twice too.
So Minnesota, Denver, and Golden State.
And Dallas beat them.
Am I wrong?
Twice.
Dallas might beat them twice as well. The team they lose to, it seems like they lose to all the time. Because
Dallas might be 3-1 or 2-1 versus them this year.
I know Denver's beat them twice for sure. I'm pretty sure Minnesota's beat them twice. Golden State, I know, has beat them.
Minnesota, I know Minnesota's beat them once. I know they beat them once. I can't remember.
Yeah, and I know the Rockets beat them once, but I know that doesn't count.
So these are the losses. They lost to Denver, then they lost to Golden State, they lost to Dallas, then they lost to San Antonio, then they lost to Houston, they lost to Milwaukee, they lost to Cleveland. They did lose to Dallas 3 times.
Yeah.
They lost to the Timberwolves twice, the Warriors twice, the Nuggets twice. Those are the teams that under.
So West teams that have advantages. Yeah. Again,
everyone else is one single loss. So 8 of their losses are to the same team. Like,
but this is what I'm saying though. Like there are matchups that they struggle with. So it's just
in one team.
Well, the Warriors games, injuries, the Mavs games decimated.
Whoa. First off, I'm just respect PJ Washington, good sir.
For sure. Did
he have 19 in one of those games? Wait, was that game in OKC? Was that a game in OKC?
It was in Dallas. Yeah, he went almost
20 and 19.
We know what PJ does. But those, like every Dallas OKC game, either Luka didn't play or Chet didn't play. I think Shea may have not played in one of them. Like those games really mean nothing. The Warriors game, Chet got hurt in the first one in like the first 5 minutes.
But the Minnesota
game, they were dealing with injuries in another one. So like, the Timberwolves game, some legit losses. The Denver games, legit losses. So like, yeah, but there's some context to the teams that they're losing to. But still, yeah, just
those are all the teams that I think have an argument to beat OKC too. Just so I think like, I don't know. I don't think anybody else can beat them. Like, I don't think that Cleveland can definitely for dang sure not beat them. Boston fully healthy could beat them. Denver could beat them. Wolves could beat them. Warriors could beat them. But Warriors
Denver
probably
could beat Oklahoma City. You think Denver could beat Oklahoma City?
Just because
that was a winnable game last night.
Just
with Milwaukee. No Giannis, no Dame.
No, but this is what I'm saying. Chill. You got to get out of that. Leave March basketball alone.
Right. So let's
hold on. Time out. Let me finish first. This is what I'm saying. There's no advantage to going 100% versus teams that don't have their players, and especially a non-conference game. Again, everybody, Matt Moore, he does this every day. These kind of matchups mean nothing. Again, I told y'all, what was it, 5 days ago, the Spurs had the #1 offense in the month of March this month, up until a few days ago. Like, nothing really matters this month except for can you get healthy, especially for older veteran teams. So I think like, again, like in a series like between like the Bucks and Denver, like if they played with all their guys, like the matchups would be mighty different. But I think like if you're just, and that's what I'm saying, like they had a game yesterday and they showed up for, I don't know, 15 minutes of that game. And then, but they played versus the Thunder. Both teams play in both of those matchups. And then you see like there's a way that teams attack each other. The same thing with the Wolves and the Thunder. Like the same thing with the Warriors and the Thunder. Like there's ways you attack each other. Like the worst matchup for Denver, I think, in the playoffs is the Wolves. Period. That's up here at this point. That's not even like on court stuff. That's like up here. There's something in your brain that's telling you 115-point difference in a 5-game stretch. Like, that's horrible. And then, if you look at like, I think the Warriors are easiest matchup. Like that's a physicality thing. There's a scheme thing. There's a personnel thing. That's also a psychology thing. Like everything in the NBA playoffs is going to come.
You think y'all handle the Warriors? If you see the Warriors in the playoffs,
I had this conversation yesterday. I'm not. This is no disrespect. I truly mean this.
You think y'all smoked them?
I think they could beat them in 5, like if they see each other, just because the Warriors don't have anything that makes Jamal uncomfortable, Porter uncomfortable, and Jokic uncomfortable. And if you can't do at least 2 of those things.
Jamal uncomfortable?
No, Jamal is cooking them alive.
The same thing that made Drew Holiday uncomfortable.
Same thing that makes Drew Holiday.
That made Drew Holiday uncomfortable.
He's talking about buckets. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about buckets. That's what he's talking about.
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, he's talking about buckets.
All right, now you about to
no, hold on.
But you just switched it up real fast. Jimmy Butler's #1 fan.
No. But I've already said this before. Like among all the elite wings in the league, Jimmy Butler does he's the easiest guard for Denver because he doesn't do anything that they struggle with. Like, I brought this up multiple times. But Jimmy doesn't. This is what I'm trying to tell y'all. Like Jimmy, if you even among wings that they would face,
sure,
he doesn't even put the pressure on him. Relative to like Jaden, relative to Null, relative to Ant, relative to
you just was trying to tell us that Jimmy.
I know, but
Jimmy's
I'm saying matchups
right now.
I'm saying matchups, Ron. This is why I'm talking about particular matchups.
I get what you're saying.
Jimmy's worst matchup would be versus probably Denver because historically they're more physical and bigger than Jimmy. And Jimmy's not the primary matchup with Jamal Murray because he's 35 years old. That's what I'm saying.
Jimmy?
It's not going to be him.
Who's guarding Jimmy?
And that's it's probably Aaron. Probably Aaron again for the whatever time. Yeah.
And Jimmy Jack and Aaron.
Jimmy has not done well versus Aaron Gordon for years.
He hasn't.
So this is not a new story. Like again, I think I've already told y'all. I think the ceiling for Denver is likely the second round. But I'm saying if you're telling me the Warriors are first round and like they that's an easier matchup for them, that they can get out of that pretty comfortably. And then let alone Joker if he has to go against Looney, or Draymond or what's the kid's name? Post. Quentin Post, who's a good player, by the way. This is just matchups. That's it.
That's actually one of the matchups I'm dying to see in the first round is the Warriors versus the Nuggets.
Steph Curry in the last 3 years, he's averaging 24 and 52 true shooting versus Denver, just because it's the size issues that they give him repeatedly. If they're big and physical, and on top of that, they're very skilled. The issue is the Wolves are also very big and physical, but they're even more physical because they're uber aggressive.
I know you realize you've lost a couple of perimeter defenders over the last few years, right? You are aware of that.
They've also played twice this year too. Yes, I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay, 100%. But using data from last year when you had KCP and using data from the year before when you had Bruce Brown.
Well, I'm using data from this year, including Christian Brown in them. So I'm saying I've watched them play this year as well. So I think, again, this is going to be sample size stuff. It's also the way they guard. I'm saying it's also the way they guard Steph in particular. It's not just personnel in that matchup.
No, I get the Aaron Gordon, Peyton Watson against Jimmy Butler matchup. I get how Jimmy could struggle against that matchup.
But Steph's also not an ISO player too. So that's another thing. Like Steph is not going to like ISO relative to Harden and Shea. Those are different levels.
Right. He's not primarily an ISO player. Sure.
Right. They struggle with players that are ISO players. If you can put them on an island and then it's just ping, 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 get to your spot. But if it's about chasing and then staying intact, that's a different thing for them for the guards. That's why Christian gets cooked on nights all the time.
I want to get back to where the conversation initially started, and Chill had asked you, Swiper, do you guys think that you could beat the OKC Thunder?
Yes.
Or do you think so?
Yes, but the OKC will still have the advantage. But yes, they can. They can beat them.
I mean, a team can have an advantage on you, but you can still beat them.
They would have,
whether it's personnel.
They would feel more comfortable versus OKC than they would the Wolves.
I just think about what I'm thinking about is I'm thinking about the Oklahoma City Thunder's defense on the perimeter and how much of an effect that it could have, because they can throw so many bodies at a guy. One of the main reasons why y'all lost to Minnesota was how they completely took MPJ out of the series. I feel like Oklahoma City can do that too.
They don't.
I feel like Oklahoma
City they can do that better.
So no,
that's what I'm thinking, Penn. That's what I'm thinking.
So, even this is what I mean. They don't guard MPJ the same. Maybe they'll change up their scheme. To be fair, they could do that because they'll put Jaden on MPJ. But in those two matches, in the 4 matches they've seen, I think MPJ's played in all of them. In 2 of them, he's gotten off because Shea was actually the defender that was guarding him. And I told you, Shea on the edge as an off-ball player can
fall asleep when he's off the ball. Sure,
because he's looking for and then here comes MPJ. I think MPJ had 24 in the first one they had, and I think this last one I can't remember what he had or whatever in this last game. But then MPJ was also taking Chet to the rim. I remember I noted that multiple times. He was taking Chet and Caruso to the rim. Porter's thing is if he has a physical advantage over you in some way, then he will utilize that, and he has utilized that versus OKC. So they also guard Denver much differently. The Lakers are not brash about what they're doing. They want to pack the paint and make it as difficult as possible. OKC, they play a much more traditional style defense versus Denver. The Wolves, they play a much more physical, and they really they try to maximize all of Denver's weaknesses all at once. And maybe OKC does, but I don't think OKC can do that to Denver the same way the Wolves can.
Well, I don't want to discount Oklahoma City's physicality because of how they fly around and how they shoot gaps. They're just as physical as any team in the league. They 100%.
They're not as physical as the Wolves, is what I'm saying.
Well, the reason why you say that is because of MPJ and Jaden McDaniels and how physical he is with them. But there's no way that you can tell me that Hartenstein isn't just as physical as anybody.
He's not just as physical as Rudy
Hartenstein. 100%. He's not as good a defensive player.
Physical, but he's not as physical as Rudy.
You say
Gobert.
Physical, well, that's not true.
So
that's one of the main reasons why he finds himself in foul trouble.
I don't think people.
That's why Hartenstein finds himself in foul trouble.
I know, but that's not physical.
Which because of the physicality. It's not only.
No, but Hartenstein is a lower IQ physicality than Rudy Gobert.
Hartenstein any less physical though. Just because I'm not as smart as you are, that doesn't mean that I'm less.
So if you're getting 3 fouls in the first half and 4 fouls in a 3-quarter setting guarding Joker because you're out of control, that's a different kind of physicality because Joker's winning those possessions every time you're fouling him, which is exactly what Ihart did in New York, which is what he did even this year, especially in the last time they played. And Chet, because Jokic has now played him multiple times now, is not able to guard Joker in the same way as he used to because there's like it's just a body, it's a bunch of things in there.
He is that part I want.
Rudy Gobert, what people don't appreciate about Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is one of the smartest players in the league because he's a lot stronger than people realize, but he's also like he's hella smart. Yes. So he just knows how to utilize his length and its athleticism in ways most people don't.
Right.
And that's a different kind of athlete and different kind of defender and even a different kind of physicality. That's why I'm as high on Rudy as I am. That's why I also chill.
I am too.
As Bam. Bam's one of the most physical players in the league.
Sure.
But he doesn't foul.
But
because he knows what he's doing.
And when you have one smart guy in Rudy, I think he makes up for a lot of the stuff, and he allows those other guys, and I know this might sound a little bit ridiculous, but he does allow those guys to be a little bit more physical because of how smart he is. Right. So in the position that he puts those guys in. However, Oklahoma City can implement their physicality because of their athleticism. And what I mean when I say that is the way that they fly around. Okay, I shoot gaps, or when I close out, I can close out and be physical without without overexerting myself. I can close out or I can push up on a guy like what Lou Dort does without having to foul. So I'm not going to take away Oklahoma City's physicality off the strength that they are athletic. I think that they're just as physical as any team. I don't think you can be that good defensively and not be a legit.
But do you realize though? This is go ahead because I don't know if I want to add to this or not. Go ahead, John D. Because just go on. You're muted, John D. Again for the 12th time. 12th time in one episode.
Hey, you know it's been a long morning, but. I think they rely on their speed more than they rely on their physicality, though. Like they have a bunch of athletes on the perimeter that can just get anywhere, whether it's dealing with like DHOs from Jokic and Murray, or whether it's dealing with MPJ off ball. I think they rely on the athleticism more than the physicality standpoint of it. So I do think you made a point with Isaiah Hartenstein not being able to use his physicality, because being taken out of the game halfway through the first or halfway through the second, that's really valuable, because then who do you have? You have Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, who just may not match up with as a strength standpoint to Jokic. So you make a good point.
But even like I said, like in that series, it's because Jokic, where Jokic is playing. Because now if you only had one big, then that's kind of where they have opened up so many like lanes, like to the rim,
when you say
like the off ball shots and all that.
Sure,
stuff.
but John D, to counter your point, like you just talked about Oklahoma City's speed. Well, when you add in the physicality, wouldn't that enhance it? Because as fast as I am, right, I can use my speed to my advantage if I'm smart enough. And I feel like Oklahoma City has a bunch of smart defenders, with the exception of Hartenstein, fouling the way that he does. I feel like they have enough smart defenders where they can supplement that. And Hartenstein sees that to the point where, okay, I know I need to be on the floor and I don't have to shoot gaps as far. All I have to do is rebound.
And be a little. You're comparing them to the Wolves, though. That's the question. It's not are they physical? It's like,
and that's what I'm saying. And to your point, and I am comparing them to the Wolves. So I can be physical, but in less stretches. What I mean when I say that is, okay, I don't have to bang with Joker as much as Rudy would, because Joker is specifically going after Rudy, and he wants to put Rudy on the.
Well, he's going after iHeart too, and Chet.
I think I do think that, but I think that. With more help from what Oklahoma City has on the perimeter with guys digging in the paint.
But this is what I'm saying. Now you're getting into the Jamal equation. Jamal doesn't this, and I've said this before, because Jamal's been playing against Caruso in the playoffs since 20. Like he cooked Caruso then, and then like Jamal feels comfortable by and large versus those players for the most part. And again, there's something about familiarity, because y'all know this. Familiarity can breed contempt in relationships. But Jamal plays with Lou Dort.
That's why you feel the way you do about Minnesota and Denver for that
reason. Right. It's just like, like we're too familiar. Sure. Jamal has played versus Dort for years, Dylan Brooks for years. So like, and overseas as well. He grew up with these people. So like, there's just a level of like, I know what you're going to do and what you're trying to do, but also because they used to screen so well with Denver. And again, this all depends on where Jamal is right now too. Jamal has been one of the best isolation players in the sport this season, especially in the last 45 games or so.
I think since the All-Star break, 22 and 6 on 48.
A lot of March basketball there, right?
Well,
22 and 6.
Since February,
22 and 6 on 48% from the floor. He's been getting busy.
No. Since
I want to say since the All-Star break, 22 and 6.
So again, since for the last 40 games, he's at 23, 6, shooting 50, 40, 43, 92.
That's
and then
40
since
games.
February 1st, he's averaging basically 24, on 50, 47, 93. Like, so yeah. He's just been in a different place with his health and stuff like that.
Which is,
but again, like I said,
good.
this is why OKC should still be advantaged, because they can still take advantage of a lot of defensive issues.
And I can
the way the Thunder win that series is not going to be because of their multiple games, not going to be because of their defense, because of their offense. There's things they can do offensively that will cause them a lot of issues.
I can appreciate your logic on familiarity, but at some point, I mean, you can't just keep kicking my ass. At some point, I have to overcome that. So
why is that going to change? If I'm better than you,
well, here's the thing: you can't stay better than me. That's why teams get beat. That's why teams ultimately lose. So I can appreciate your logic about Caruso. Well, Caruso, this defensive team that he's on today is the best defensive team he's been on. That includes the Lakers. This is the best defensive team that he's been on since he's been in the league. So again, I've said in the past, I do know you, but when I'm playing on a team that's a lot better and a lot more dogs, I think that my deficiencies can get covered up. And a guy like Jamal Murray, who's as good as he is as a tough shot maker, he's gonna have to make more tough shots, having to deal not just with Caruso. He's gonna have to deal with Wallace. He's gonna have to deal with J-Dub. He's gonna have to deal with Wiggins. He's gonna have to deal with Caruso. So he's gonna have to make more. He's gonna have to make more tough shots. And I think that that's gonna gas him. So the idea that he's just dealing with Caruso, no, that's not the case at all.
Sure, that boy, they're gonna have that boy in 24-hour lockdown. The dudes that don't even sniff fresh air, don't even get to see sunlight.
So the dude that's 23 hours and they get an hour out.
No,
an hour,
24.
So he'll never come out.
That boy don't see nothing.
So he's staying in the cell the whole time.
All right, hey, the guards.
Ron, we're not doing that. Okay, Ron, we're not gonna do that. Okay, here's why we're not gonna do that. Because Jamal Murray is too good of a tough shot maker to be completely shut down. Don't get me wrong. I saw Jaylen Brown get shut down, but Jaylen Brown is much more limited than Jamal Murray is as a ball handler, as a shot creator. I think he's much more limited than Jamal Murray is.
Much?
So I think that yes.
Oh, come on, Rod. You're such a casual at times.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
He's not the ball. He's not the ball handler.
Yeah, please
he's
stop.
not the tough
not
shot
the shooter,
maker.
ball handler, screen navigator, ISO player. None of it.
I mean,
that's not
all of that goes into scoring though.
That 100% goes into scoring, Ron. What are you doing?
Not all of that, because you can score in a multitude of ways.
And everything that's right, but just said that's how you can
Jamal's
score.
Better off-ball score, on-ball score, a better pick and roll navigator, better ISO player, all of it, all of it across
ball
the board.
handler.
Okay, and there's things that Jaylen Brown's better at too. But
which one?
The point of what do you mean?
Defense.
Such as?
He better in transition. He better in transition.
Oh, transition.
I can run to that.
Yeah, there you go, Ron.
We can remedy that by just slowing the game down. Go.
Okay, chill, and that's cool. You ran to Jaylen Brown. The list goes on. It's not just Jaylen Brown. It doesn't. We were just talking about OKC's defense yesterday, the episode before that, and the episode before that. We just seen what they like. Granted, Kawhi got busy, but we see you just said they put Kawhi on lockdown too for the last 5 minutes. Like OKC, when
why would
they
Jamal be out there
smell
with
that blood?
Jokic? Wouldn't that be that's the whole point though? Like I think that's what makes them what they are. It's not just Jamal or like Kawhi and Harden running ISO in the corner. It's the fact that they have multiple players on the court, and Jamal is the second option between him and Jokic in late game situations. That's why they're so potent. So that's what I'm saying. It's not just going to be Jamal by himself. That's what makes them what they are.
Well, no,
they have to defend. The real question is, can they defend? That should be your actual counter. Like, can the Nuggets defend OKC consistently? That would be the question.
I wasn't even talking about winning the series. I was just talking about them boys hounding Leicester. That's all I was getting at.
You still call them Leicester. It's crazy about it.
But Mars, Penn, and John, I would like you guys to tell me what you guys think would happen between Denver and OKC in the playoffs.
I think OKC has the advantage. I just think they're the better defensive team, and I think Shea has the ability to rise in the playoffs to levels that we've only seen from very few players. But I'm still not completely sold on their offense. I think J-Dub could struggle. I think Chet could struggle. How often is Case and Wallace, Lou Dort, and guys like J-Dub and Aaron Wiggins, how long are they going to make shots? But I believe in OKC's defense. I believe that their offense is going to be good enough to win a lot of series in the playoffs. So I would pick OKC in a 6 or 7 game series. I don't think this is just going to be something that you could walk by, but I would definitely pick OKC in 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
Ben?
I mean, I pick OKC. I've been on this bandwagon since day one of the season. I'm gonna die on this bandwagon until someone proves it wrong. What? What are you saying? Under your breath?
I don't want you to die.
Please don't die. Yeah, Thank you very much.
I believe in this. I believe in this take home.
I'm dying on the bandwagon. Okay, I'm not dying in real life. Relax.
Okay, good.
So,
bandwagon comes from like the Oregon Trail, and so people died on the bandwagon. By the way, but no, never
mind. Did they die?
As you were saying, Penn. As you were saying, sir.
Swiper. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think their ability to double the post, their ability to send traps, their ability to really just man up and defend one-on-one against Jamal Murray. I think they have a lot of really good matchups against Jamal Murray, despite what Swiper says, about historically feeling good about this player, that player. I feel like when that player is now surrounded by the best defense possibly in the 21st century, that player is suddenly able to press up a little bit more. I feel like Michael Porter Jr. could be reduced to garbage. I feel like he could be just nothing in that series. And honestly, I'm looking at the confidence with which you're talking about Denver, and I'm like, how many teams in the Western Conference could beat Denver in a 7-game series? So at least 4.
At least 4?
At least 4.
Can we list
OKC? OKC can beat them. Minnesota can beat them.
Lakers.
You think the Lakers can beat them 4 times in a week?
Yep.
I do think they can beat them. And there's another team that I don't think. But who's the 4th team you talking about, Swiper?
Yeah, those are the 3 I had.
Probably my 4th. Yeah, my 4th team on that list, if I had to put a list out, would probably be the Clippers.
Correct. The Clippers. And unironically, this is actually really weird. If you sort per single game box plus minus Nikola Jokic's historical season, one of the best seasons ever, do you know that the 1, 2, 3? Do you know that the 7 worst games? Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 worst games. Sacramento, Lakers, Clippers, Sacramento. All California. All the California teams, except for Golden State. So it's very interesting. What's going on with Jokic in California?
That's right. Maybe no. You know what it is? He's protesting them not putting a rent cap up in California last year. I get it. Yeah, that makes sense.
With stinky performances. Okay, got you.
I'm gonna suck in the playoffs because rent too high. People can't afford to live here.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna be garbage in the playoffs.
I do, however, want to point out for context that 2 of these games did happen in the dreaded month of March, so they probably shouldn't count. But the rest of them happen in months that do count for basketball. So,
yo, that's
all right, fellas.
Yeah.
Before we get on to our next subject or segment, I got to encourage you guys to go check out PrizePicks because, well, it's just fun and entertaining. And I have a blast on this app every day, me and Big Ox. And, well, you guys get the perk and the privilege of getting $50 instantly when you use promo code PANEL. All you have to do is play $5 and you will get $50 back. And using PrizePicks is very easy. I'm going to show you guys how it's done. But before I do that, I got to let you guys in on a little secret that they got going on over at PrizePicks. Now, we know Cooper Flagg, player of the year, freshman of the year, the projected #1 overall pick, the great sensation that he is. Well, PrizePicks did us all a little favor. They would typically have him at 19.5, his player projection. But today, they've reduced it all the way down to just a point that he has to score in order for you to win his player projection. And, well, I took advantage of it. And this is what mine looks like. Wait. No, not that one. Wait. You know, I got a couple, And you know me. Right here. Here we go. Yeah. This one. All right, so this is how I'm rocking today. You can see they got all the March Madness college games up here today. I really, really, really want to take this. Where's he at? This Walter Clayton, but I'm gonna let it be because I like what I got right now. I got Cooper Flagg, obviously the most glaring pick, scoring a point today. That's real easy. And then I got Anthony Davis. He will be coming back tonight. He's playing against the Magic, but 20 points for AD. I got him doing that. And then we got Ice Chili Trey, 23.5 points in South Beach. You know what he does to them. And then last but not least, this actually, aside from the Cooper flag, might be the most simplest one with Josh Giddey and Luka Doncic combining for 17 assists. I think that is a give me. And that's how I'm rocking today.
You know who's in South Beach right now?
20 turns into 200.
Ron, you know who's in South Beach right now? Off night.
What does that mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what does that mean?
He's saying they're playing in LA, so LeBron's going to be in South Beach. They're playing LA in Miami.
I thought it was my Davion Mitchell. But...
I am talking about Davion Mitchell. Did you say they're playing the Miami Heat today?
No, I don't know. I have no idea. We were looking at the Lakers, and so I thought you were making something about the Lakers. Never mind.
Yeah, you guys
just off topic. Okay.
I would love to talk.
I don't know. I don't know who Off Night is.
You don't know
or
who
what
Off Night is?
Nah.
And Swiper, you don't know who Off Night is? Baylor legend Davion Mitchell.
I don't know what that means, dog. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You don't know what off night means? It means you play against them. You have an off night. How you don't understand that? It's the best thing in the NBA.
It was on night in Toronto, so I don't know. You was telling us it was on night in Toronto.
No,
are we gonna talk about? Are we gonna talk about Luka's blow bys last night, or is Mars gonna say that's a scheme?
Low buys, or are we talking about terrible defense?
I'm not gonna lie, Mars. I thought for a minute he was confused. I thought he thought the whistle stopped on those two possessions. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It was some of the worst defense I've ever seen.
Did you think he just forgot? Like he just didn't know what was going on? Like
no,
I couldn't.
No, there's no explanation for that. None. Yeah, and when we get in the film session, there's going to be no explanation for that.
But it happened twice.
It was Olay, right? On the same guy.
I was like, do you think you're up 6 with like 30 seconds left? Like, what are you doing?
Olay, you just go to the rim with him. Go right to the rim. And Rui looked a little confused last night on defense too. I don't know what it was about Rui. He looked a lot more confused than he did in the past. But
that's not.
He did knock down some open shit. It isn't. It is.
Rui did.
Rui, you've been confused.
He did knock down some open shots though. Yeah, he did knock down some open shots. Yes,
he had a good game.
I think Rick Carlisle lost the Pacers this game. I mean,
when he put Hallie back in the game.
Yeah, he didn't put Hallie back in the game, and it's like you get that garbage shot to ice the game. You take your best offensive player out, and then you don't give him a chance to ice the game. And it's like everything was going y'all way in that second half. Miles Turner caught fire. Jarace Walker was attacking the rim and he was hitting shots. They were getting Luka on switches. It was one possession. I think when they took the lead, Tyrese Halliburton literally stumbled into the switch against Luka. Like they were getting the Luka Doncic switch at will. So I thought the game was lost. I thought we lost the game because it's like I'm just so used to the Lakers not overcoming adversity. So I thought we lost.
No, don't worry. You're about a month away. You're about a month away. Don't worry. Just stay patient.
I'm so used to you guys folding up like a lawn chair. That
it was. I definitely thought it was an interesting decision to take him out the game, and then Rui had some really clutch threes that I really appreciated from him. LeBron had a really bad game. I know he kept his streak alive, but he did not.
Who got that block at the rim?
How you finish? How you finish?
Who got the block at the rim
for the Pacers? Yeah,
it was Jarace Walker. Jarace Walker. He had help.
Did it Jarace Walker or Jarace Walker?
I just been calling him Jarace since 23.
Okay. Jarace, tomato.
Mr. Walker. Yeah, he was
Jamal Lester. You know who we talk about.
Definitely got his name right.
But proceed, John.
I mean, that's my takeaways on the game, man. It was a heart-wrenching game. Because it's like I need a win. We had lost like 3 straight right before this. I needed something. And then we got the Bulls tonight, and the way they're playing, that's not an easy match.
Kobe White, Luke on the island.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, but yeah, it was a good game though.
I appreciate the confidence that Austin Reaves is playing with more than when watching your boys. I appreciate the confidence Reaves is playing with. He knows he's going to get open shots, and he's taking advantage of every opportunity that as a scorer. Every one of them. He knows that Luka's coming to him. He knows that when him and James play pick and dive, pick and pop, he's going to either be open, he's going to have a mismatch on him, or he's going to have James in the dive. And James, if he's not in the dive, he's just going to clear out. He's going to have a mismatch on him, whether that's Obi Toppin, which it was last night, and then in transition, I mean, he looked great in transition last night, getting to the rim. So I appreciate Austin Reaves' confidence more than anything. And I think that that's what can help you guys, propel you guys to the next level. John, I understand how, you're so used to your boys folding up, but I think that there's different energy this year with this Lakers team. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that you're gonna win the NBA championship. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you're gonna win the NBA championship, but I feel like there's with having Luka on the crew, just as an offensive engine, I think that that's something that can give you more confidence to say we're going to be in every game that we play, we're going to be in it, and we got an opportunity to win. Now, if you don't win, it's not going to be because you folded up like a lawn chair. I don't think so.
I mean, chill, but you got to think. If you're like a fair Laker fan, a non-biased Laker fan, they're gonna say you're not a real fan. I can't like point out little things that I may not
100%.
like without being, this guy ain't no real Laker fan. What is he talking about? What is he talking about?
Smart.
We're supposed to be 16-0 in the playoffs. Like I can't like be honest here. I can't be honest about the Lakers.
No, this is a safe space, John D. You can be honest here.
But
what's up?
Their offense, I think
it's
their
not
offense
good.
is always going to bring problems.
It's not
I
good.
think they're going to bring problems. I think
Let's
Austin Reaves is a great ball handler. I think Luka Doncic and LeBron James, I think they all make positive decisions. I think if Dorian Finney-Smith and Rui Hachimura can knock down shots, I think Jordan Goodwin and Gabe Vincent, if they can knock down shots, they're going to be good. I think the defense is what concerns me. We saw in the game, literally from the first quarter to the second quarter, the effort level just switched. And it's like, the Lakers have to communicate. They have to have proper timing or rotations. They have to be engaged to be a fully aware, really good defensive team. They can't rely on somebody being like behind them to recover for them. They all have to be engaged as a 5-man unit to be an effective defense. It's like Luka can't have relapses and be like, Jackson Hayes is going to clean up for me. LeBron James can't have relapses and be like, Rui Hachimura is going to cover up for me. All of them as a 5-man unit has to be locked in or they're not going to be effective. And we saw that in the first quarter. And the Indiana Pacers are a team that's going to make you run in transition. They're going to make you rotate. And we saw like the Lakers just weren't engaged in that aspect. So if you're going to see that multiple times in the playoffs, if they're not engaged, they're not going to be effective defensively.
Hey, John D, let me read some numbers to you, my brother. You're a good friend of mine. That's a fellow lover of Chicago. This year, PvP stats, by the way, I made sure I filtered out garbage time because no one likes garbage time.
Okay.
So you're right. On the season, between LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reaves, 208 minutes played together. They actually have a 118.44 offensive rating, which I think is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not like crazy, but it's pretty good. Yep. They have a 121.93 defensive rating this year, and all three of them are on the court. They're like getting ran off the they're getting ran off the line. You know what I mean? Like ran off the line pretty steadily. But look, Luka Doncic, Austin Reaves though, because you know what happens there. You get Rui, get DFS, get Jackson Hayes, get another defender in there. All of a sudden, wow, a plus 20.5 net rating, and then you have a 106.25 defensive rating and a 126.8 offensive rating. That's great.
That's what I'm saying. Like, see, now this goes into something that I've been thinking in my head, but I don't know if I've been comfortable saying this on the microphone just yet. And I'm gonna come to you guys with it. Why can't Austin Reaves be the guy next to Luka? Why can't he be like, you know what, Austin Reaves, you're going to be Luka's running mate for the next line, and we're just going to build a really solid 3 to 5 defensive unit around you guys, and this may be good enough to have us content. Where do you think Austin Reaves' limitations are as an offensive player to where he can't be that next to Luka, and we just get like I don't know if we draft one, I don't know if we sign one, I don't know if we trade for a really good defensive center and go bring in some very versatile athletes as our 3 to 5 to be a top tier defensive player or top tier defensive team.
So number one,
no,
Austin Reaves, who is on the cheat with the Lakers, number one, Austin Reaves, who is on the cheat with the Lakers, is 100% a part of their future plans. No doubt about that. He 100% is a part of their future. Let's start there. Number two, Luka looks for him in the offense. When he gets going, when he gets to knocking down that long ball, and when he gets in his bag and he's throwing the ball between his legs and getting to the rim, James looks for him. So this isn't a situation where these guys don't go to him. So they will go to him when he got going, when he gets going. With that being said, I think it's a confidence thing with him in terms of feeling like they'll look, because I think his confidence is high, but does he feel like, they trust me enough where I can be the guy who can save games, or I can be the guy that they can go to more? I think he's confident in the aspect that they trust me enough to knock down open shots. They trust me enough to get quick hits. They trust me enough where there's a mismatch. Do they trust me in meat and potatoes of games when I got a mismatch on me? I'm not sure if he's there, but I do think he's there in other aspects. But 100%, John D, I think that he's 100% a part of their future. No doubt about that. They're not looking to move
because it's like we look at
nobody said he wasn't part of the future. I think what John D is saying is, can he be our second option going forward? Is that what you're saying?
Why can't he?
Okay, cool.
Well,
so we just
that's what I'm saying though. Like, why wouldn't that be the case?
No, you arguing two different things. You're saying he's part of the future. Nobody argued that. What John D is saying is he could be the second biggest part of our future, which I would argue against.
So the idea is he's a part of their future, but with him being a part of their future, they're going to bring in another star who's better than him. Is that correct? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, because I think what John
that's not the argument either, though. Like, if they bring in somebody that's better than them, that's kudos to them.
Well,
but John D said, can Austin Reaves rock next to Luka? And they bring in other versatile defenders. He was saying maybe even a big man. I don't think that's that crazy with what we see with Austin Reaves.
He has to be the second best player on the team. I'm saying the second best offensive player, and there may be a world where our second best player can be more defensive oriented, and we can build around those two as our best two offensive players, and just have a really well-versed defensive team around them. So we've seen like top tier defenses be built around Luka. We know it can happen. You just have to have the right roster construction around him to have an effective defense. Okay, and I just don't think the Lakers have that.
But it took Kyrie Irving being his second option to get him to the finals, and he lost. I want to be clear about that. He lost, and you don't know where this Luka career arc is going, because there are some smart people who think it's going the other way, right? So look, I think Luka is great. I think he's going to be a top 5 player for a while, but if Austin Reaves is the second best player in a conference where Chet Holmgren is possibly the Thunder's third best player, or Jalen Williams the third best player, you are outclassed. You are outclassed so hard.
I would say the Mavericks got to the
finals on the back of their defense.
And John D, you could correct me if I'm wrong. You're not asking, are they going to be the best team in the NBA? You're not asking, are they going to win a championship? Because that was even disingenuous what you just did with the Luka Kyrie. You said, and they lost. Yeah, but they lost in the finals. Can they be successful with Luka?
They lost in the finals.
But they lost in the finals.
Cool.
So I'm saying though, like with Luka being the number one option, Luka being Luka, Austin Reaves doing what he's been doing since AD left, since AD got hurt, since he's legitimately been the second option, and he was even doing it with Bron.
I understand we are all in a very, very big rush to kind of crown Austin Reaves as something.
He's crowning himself, man.
Okay, cool.
He's doing it himself. He's showing us on the court.
Look, I've heard people on this panel, I'm not going to put names on this because I think there's more than one, who have put him in conversations with guys like John Morant, De'Aaron Fox, Jalen Brunson,
Zach LaVine.
I think we're missing.
Don't
Jalen Brunson. Who put him in that
muddy the water there?
I think it's what I'm saying is last year, I think Dallas had more of a. I think their reason of getting to the finals was on the back of their defense. Like, if they didn't have the elite defense they did, because Luka was very inconsistent in the playoffs. I don't think he played well against the Clippers. I think there was games where he did not play well against the Clippers. He was really bad against Boston, and they got to the finals on the back of their defense. Like, Luka was not Luka in the playoffs last year. So I'm saying, if you can build a really good defensive team around them, around Luka and AR, I think they have enough offensively. Luka as a playmaker, Austin as how he has improved as an off-ball player, ball handler, and creator for himself and others. You can build a good enough defensive team where nobody's going to want to see that in the playoffs. Like, I definitely think that if you have that type of mindset like that Dallas had, where they can lean on their defense a lot more than they have in recent seasons, and the Lakers still have that mindset, and you have a top-tier offensive player and one of the league's better offensive players next to him, that could be enough.
Kind of like what's going on in Dallas right now with what they're building with their second. Well, I mean, their best player is their best defensive player too, though. But I see your point where the team is built primarily around defense with Anthony Davis and PJ Washington and Najee Marshall and the two big guys, Gafford and Lively. And I just think that I feel like with Reaves, I feel like on any given night, he could be your second best player with Los Angeles today. That's going on.
He plays well in the playoffs. Like he plays well in the playoffs.
Better than LeBron now. Okay.
No, I didn't say that.
I
said that
after LeBron leaves, after LeBron retires. This is what I'm saying.
I'm saying that when James is on the floor, there are nights when Austin Reaves could be your second best player.
Wasn't he last
night? He
night?
can play like that. I don't think that that's ridiculous to say.
He was the second best player last night.
Last night is a prime example of that. What you saw with James. We get a night where Austin Reaves has got it going. And then to your point, John D, about other teams in the Western Conference. Did I not watch in 2023 when y'all played Memphis? He kicked Desmond Bane's ass. Did I not see that? I'm 100% confident I saw that. So, and Desmond Bane is, for all intents and purposes, what is he, the second? Some nights he could be their second best player. Some nights he could be their third best player. So I don't think it's ridiculous to think that Austin Reaves on any given night could be your second best player. And moving forward, could he be a guy that we could look to more offensively? I think that's where the confidence comes in.
Chill. On any given night, Rui Hachimura could be your second best player. I know what you're saying, but like,
no, he can't. Pen.
On any given night, which is to say, some random night. What do you say? What about on a?
I think Austin Reaves could do it more. I think Austin Reaves could do it more than Rui.
Yeah, of course.
I think Austin Reaves can be more of your second best player on more nights. I'm not just talking about on a Tuesday.
I'm just not rating Austin Reaves where you guys are. I think that's
he's a lot better than you give him credit for, Penn. He is. He's much better than you give him credit for. Just as a one-on-one player who can knock down open shots. He's not great defensively, but he will compete. 100% he will compete. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And he fits well with this group, especially with Luka. I don't think you give him enough credit. I don't.
And we underrate how well he gets to the line. I think Austin Reaves does a really good job at getting to the line. Like I just think you can really put a sound defensive team around those two. Now, am I saying that that's something that I'm just like rooting for and wanting to go for? But if it comes down to it, I don't want to have to like give a max contract to a guy who doesn't fit but is a really good name, and then we just completely implode our roster construction. I would rather just, you know what, maybe until that guy opens up and we have Austin Reaves as our second option offensively, we can build a really good defensive unit around this team and see where it takes us for a season. See if we can beat a Timberwolves team or a Grizzlies team or give a fight to a Thunder team, you know, and just see how that works if we just prioritize defense, because we have one of the best offensive players in the league and we have one of the better offensive players in the league that is really portable and that can fit in multiple different situations. So that's what I would prioritize instead of just, because I know the Lakers, once LeBron probably heads out, they're probably just going to give the first max contract to the star that becomes available, or try and trade for the first star that becomes available. Because a lot of teams do that when they feel like they're being rushed to build a contending team. What I'm saying is maybe if that star isn't there that fits well with Luka Doncic, prioritize the defense before we just go out and go get somebody. And maybe we can see if Austin Reaves can be a really good second option offensively in that way.
Let me ask you this.
I think you got to take one more jump, man. I think you got to take one more jump for me before I start putting him. Yeah, I mean, if he does, cool. Okay, but his history is not on your side on this one. Okay,
I mean, Penn, he in the last 20 games, he's at 22, 5.5 assists, 4.9 rebounds. He's shooting 47% from the field, 35 from three, 92 from the line. I mean, that's pretty good production.
History,
and he's 25 years old.
He's 26. History is not on your side. History is not on your side on this one.
Right? I don't think he's a star, just to be clear. I just think that he's a very, very, very good role player. And I think that
what I'm asking
he probably is best suited as a number 3 on a roster.
I'm glad you brought that up, Swipe, because I wanted to ask. I'm glad you brought that up, John D. Because I'm Swipe because I wanted to ask John D. Because the way that you presently want this constructed with James gone, let's go back in time a couple of years and let's take Tyler Hero off that Miami Heat team and put Austin Reaves on that Miami Heat team. What do they look like? This version of Austin Reaves, by the way.
This version of Austin Reaves back in 23?
This version of Austin. this version of Austin Reaves. Take Tyler Hero off that crew. That run that they had. I don't just mean in 23. I mean when they was in the Eastern Conference Finals in 22. I mean when they went in the NBA Finals in 20. I mean when they.
What do you mean 3 years older Austin Reaves?
This Austin Reaves, I want to see what, because the reason why I'm asking you that, John D, because the way that you want this team structured, that's kind of what's going on in Miami, where your second best player was a defensive player in Bam. So now you have an offensive player to the level of Austin Reaves, this level of Austin Reaves. What does that Miami Heat team look like?
I don't think it looks much different. I don't think it would have been like the difference between them beating the Lakers in 2020. I don't think it would have been the difference in them beating the Nuggets in 23. But in 22, they were one shot away from going to the NBA Finals. Maybe Austin Reaves pushes that to where they go to the NBA Finals and eventually lose to the Golden State Warriors. Who knows? But I don't think that would have raised their ceiling enough to win a championship, at least that roster. Because in the end of the day, when we do look at the 2023 Heat and the shooting that they had, you know, how much does that get affected with Austin Reaves now having the ball? You know, how much, because Bam was really good in the finals that year. How much does Austin Reaves being on that team? Because Tyler Hero was hurt in 23. You know, how much are they going to give Bam the ball in that series if Austin Reaves is the second guy with the ball in his hand making the decisions? You know, so I don't necessarily think it changes their ceiling to the point where they win a championship, but it would have been good to have their that player that can put the ball on the floor and make shots. I just think Luka's to a different level than Jimmy Butler is, to where maybe Austin Reaves is your second best offensive player and you having another defensive player that you would consider your second best player, but is mainly prioritized for defense would work a little bit better.
Yeah, well, salute the Lakers. They beat the Indiana Pacers last night, 120-119, and they did it on a buzzer beater from GOAT James. Y'all want to talk about this? And LeBron has now actually
talk about you calling him GOAT.
GOAT. I actually want to talk about what happened before the game. That's
before the hold on. We'll get into that in a second. Y'all want to, and like literally right after this, we'll get into that. But is any of you guys want to comment on the game winner?
Good buzzer.
Tipping game winners from the GOAT.
The Pacers would be running for not boxing.
All I want to say is Jordan wouldn't have needed that buzzer beater.
Here we go.
Would have packed him up in the third quarter. There you go.
I mean,
40-year-old Michael Jordan.
40-year-old Michael Jordan would have actually got a bucket, not a tip in. And if he tipped it in, it probably would have been a dunk.
40-year-old Michael Jordan would cook these bums.
Okay. Shout out to Bron for after having a bad game hitting a tipping. There you go.
Yep. Yeah.
That was.
I don't have much to say about it, Ron. To be honest with you.
It's not like if they would have had their actual personnel in there for the Pacers, they wouldn't have been in a situation to lose the game. So that's their fault.
I mean, it's a tipping. I don't know what you want me to say. Like,
no box out.
Credit to Bron for crashing, and then credit to Bron for obviously getting the tip to go. But at the end of the day,
it reminded me of Derek White in 2023.
Okay, it's wrong.
That series should have been over.
It's a tipping. At the end of the day, it's a tipping.
Like if it was Jackson Hayes, it would be like we wouldn't talk about it. But it's the GOAT though.
No, it's just the Pacers need to box out. Okay. That's what they need to do.
That's really all it is.
You know, they say you be rage baiting. Ron, you rage baiting right now.
I'm just trying to show Bron some love. With that being said, the most career buzzer beaters in NBA history with a tip in.
Sure.
LeBron is now tied for second.
Great.
Shout out to Bron for putting the tip in and getting on this list.
And how many games did Michael do that in?
Oh my Jesus Christ!
Now you bringing up God? Okay,
that's a good question.
How many games did MJ play? 1,500?
I don't know.
1,300, I think. I want to say 1,369. Something like that, Mars. 1,369 games.
Oh, 1072. Whoops.
So the buzzer beaters.
Break it down for us using the calculator, using an analytic. Buzzer beaters per game played. You know what I mean?
Just divide it.
Buzzer beater tip-in rate. You know.
Okay, we're gassing now.
Every 119 games,
literally just
MJ hit a buzzer beater.
LeBron literally tanking every single game for the rest of the season, trying to get one more buzzer beater to get that 9.
So LeBron has 5 in the playoffs since Penn is done yapping. So we have the one versus the Cleveland versus Indiana Pacers. That was the one with the left-handed lay-in. You had the
Toronto Raptors.
The runner.
Yeah.
Remember
that one? Remember that one?
That was a
against
magic off the
Orlando.
backboard.
Yeah. LeBron.
And then was the Wizards one in the playoffs?
No, that was a regular season game.
What are the other two?
The Magic.
He said that one, or Ron.
Wait a minute, Ma. The one he had in 2000. Oh, okay, so the one he had in 2000 that was a go ahead one. That wasn't a buzzer beater. The one he had in 2006 when they played
the Bulls. Yeah. What Bulls?
Jump shot.
The corner three against the Bulls.
The corner three against the Bulls.
Oh, I forgot about
that. But that one, another one that shouldn't have counted. But that's what it is.
Did he get one on the Pistons?
No. No. They ended up going into overtime, and
we're going back to high school now, dog. I got to remember off the top of my head, man.
I remember so Mars so the one that he had against Washington that was in the playoffs.
You said he's got 5, right? We got to 5. The 2 and 18, the Bulls one, the Pacers.
Those were the playoff
and then
ones.
The Magic one. He's got 5. Those are the 5.
The Bulls.
Those are the ones in the playoffs.
The Bulls, the 2 and 18, the Magic one, and then the Pacers layup.
What two? 5. What was the other one in 18? We talked about the Indy one.
Toronto.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. That was same year.
Those are the 5. Yeah. Okay. I was scratching my head trying to find the next one.
Okay, well, stop using the backboard so much, LeBron. How about that? Make a real shot.
I thought okay, so those were go ahead buckets. The 2 that he had against Washington, those weren't buzzer beaters. Those were go ahead buckets. I got you.
The best one was the Toronto Raptors one. That runner was legendary. That was a OG.
That Orlando game winner.
It was Orlando was crazy.
The Orlando game winner was crazy.
Mars, if he doesn't hit that, we're not coming back to Cleveland. That series is over. We're not coming back to Cleveland.
I guess in terms of you look after the fact that
I just want to let y'all know that 6 months ago he had missed 16 straight game winning 16 straight game winning / tying 3-pointers.
So, you know what they say though, if you're not making your shots, you got to get an easy one. Usually they say get to the free throw line. Well, Bron, he decided to get a tip in the street. So you got to do. You got to take the easy ones.
Rod, when when you go to the club, you got to make a choice, right? It's quality or quantity. You obviously ain't got quality, so you got to go for quantity. You're going for volume, right?
Right.
Have you always been a Bron hater? Or am I late?
Yeah, is this new?
No,
he's not a Bron hater.
I'm getting ready for the next segment. Also, I'm a little pissed off right now.
What are you pissed off about?
I lost my Puma sponsorship, bro.
You could usher us in, Pin. What are you mad about?
Sponsorship because y'all clipped up the Fred VanVleet thing. Puma's stock fell 20% over the last month. They told me you're doing a bad job representing us. We got to pack you up. So they took away my hat.
That you even subjected us to that. The fact that you even subjected us to that. Yes.
I'm not relitigating that shit. I was 100% right. You can visit it.
No, you weren't.
Don't even go there. Don't even go there.
You weren't.
I think he was right, but
of course you do, Mars.
Yeah,
because you're Judas.
No, he's not Judas in this case.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
You have Judas on your side though. So how do you feel about that?
I feel it's good that Mars supporting PC fam. That's good.
How many shillings did you give him?
2.
That's crazy.
He only took 2. He did it for 30 last time.
All right, y'all. Well.
Would you rather be Judas or Thomas? That's the question. Go ahead, Ron.
Aside from Bron's tip-in yesterday, he had some choice words for a lot of choice individuals yesterday on the Pat McAfee podcast. Do you guys want to address anything? I'll open up the floor. Anything. He said a lot.
I know there was a great panelist who said, "Don't bring no notes." I brought notes. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Okay, before you get into that, let me just say please. I think First Take could have done their job and waited until the whole clip came out of what LeBron said about the Giannis versus Giannis back in the 70s argument, because they missed so much of what he actually said. What he was saying was we shouldn't have this argument about players going back into different eras, because them being all-time greats, they should be able to transfer to other eras. All-time greats are all-time greats because their game translates, and whether it's because a rule changes, you can get adjusted to rules, things of that nature. but they didn't do their full job of watching the whole clip. I don't know if anybody saw this morning of Stephen A. bringing Kobe Bryant into the argument. I thought that was pretty weird. You're bringing someone.
He was.
You remember that?
Well before
he
was
Please
there.
recap. What did he say about Kobe Bryant?
He said that I didn't want to bring this up. He said I didn't want to bring this. I wouldn't have brought it up, but the fact that it's questionable why you were not intended for Kobe's funeral. When again, I wanted just to be clear on the reporting. The reporting has come out multiple times via, just read it, the LA Times, Washington Post, Entertainment, that he was in fact there at Kobe's homegoing service.
What does that have to do with anything?
Stephen A. brought that up to say that there's things about LeBron that he has not said publicly. If LeBron wants to get nasty, basically, he can go in the dirt with him. Like, you know how, maybe you don't remember this, but Hillary Clinton, they go low, we go high. He's saying that you go low, I'll go lower.
That was Michelle. That was originally, if I recall correctly, Michelle Obama's quote.
But they go low, we go high.
It was during the Clinton run.
So Bron was at Bron was at Bryant's service.
Reportedly, he was there. He just was not he was not like
he wasn't visible.
Sitting. He wasn't sitting amongst people.
He wasn't visible. He was
again.
There,
there's a funeral. I can lament in whatever way I see fashionable. And if he did not want to be in the crowd, he did not have to be in the crowd like many other people 100%. Were not in the crowd probably. So the idea is Stephen A. at this point is the way that, and this is where Mars is right. Okay, this is where he is correct. Mars has been on this for a while now. He has said that media is not journalism anymore. And I had agreed with him at the national level. Local level, still a lot of journalism. But what it's turned into now is that now it's storytelling and storylines. And now it's drama, Penn. Now, General Hospital, Stephen A.'s favorite show, the entire region soap operas are still doing so well is because they have tied people into storylines still since you were a boy. All those shows have been around since you were in your 20s. And this is what ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, and others are now doing. It's the best way to generate numbers and the best way to increase your pay rates and the best way to get eyes on the product. It's not even necessarily just to be good at talking through the sport. And for everybody, I think the best sports show on outside of NFL Live and all that, first, because I think Wilds, Broussard, and Nick Wright do a really good job talking through the game. But they obviously have an entertainment factor to them. Stephen A. Smith has leaned so far entertainment. Kendrick Perkins has leaned so far entertainment that we have moved away from actual basketball discourse now where you have the preeminent journalist in sports media with a $100 million contract going after the preeminent superstar in sports. And they're having a back and forth over a disagreement about Bronny James and how Stephen A. Smith handled that. And now LeBron is going about his business, doing it the way he sees fit, and Stephen A. is responding in kind. And now it's just getting dirtier. And I can say that even with Howard Cosell and Muhammad Ali, that was probably the preeminent journalism-athlete relationship we've seen in sports. This is like moving into a different tier where this is becoming bad blood between two people. And one of them in particular is truly creating a narrative about the other in Stephen A. Smith and going against LeBron James publicly, because that is the best thing that you can do to, I would say, to certify yourself among your peers.
And that's where we come in, because we actually talk basketball. We don't allow ourselves to get involved in the Maury Povich, Jerry Springer logic of basketball, where we got two guys who are preeminent in the game and it goes away from the game and it makes the game muddy and it completely leaves out what the game actually is about. Now, for Stephen A. Smith, who, I don't do gossip. I'm not a gossip guy. I can't stand this whole thing. But I do have a problem with you saying one thing and then saying something completely different. For example, LeBron steps to him and has an issue with him. And then you can handle that right there. This isn't something that, we got to wait or we got to go in the back or we can go outside. No, we can handle this right here. But instead, it doesn't get handled there. And then we move forward to you saying to your boy, yeah, Mars, he got in my face. I would have swung on him. Well, he was right there in front of you. We could have handled that right there. Whatever issue that you had with him, we could have handled that right there. And you could have done it professionally. Listen, you got a problem with me? You want to go in the back and you want to talk? You want to do this right here? No problem. You said I got a problem with your son? No, I don't have a problem with your son. And deal with it right there. Don't tell me later on afterwards that, well, this is how I feel about this. Well, the problem was right in front of you. Right there, the problem was in front of you. And with the problem being right in front of you and you not dealing with it, that's double talk to me. That's straight.
I think people forget he's openly admitting, saying that it's not the fact that you're critiquing the game. Your job is to critique the game. It's the fact that you're saying, as a father, I'm pleading and begging for you to stop this and put an end to Bronny's misery.
Right.
I can understand wanting to critique somebody's game. That's what you're here for. That's your job. You know, if you're going to critique somebody's game, critique their game, but don't try and nationally criticize someone as a father and then be like, oh, I was just doing my job. And then go on a show the next couple of days and say, you thought it was weak and you thought it was some bullshit. Like, he literally, that's where I don't agree with. I can understand where you're saying like Bronny is struggling right now. Maybe the best thing to do is to keep him in the G League and stop bringing him up time and time again, you know, but constantly saying I'm pleading with you as a father on national television. Like he said multiple times, that's what he had a problem with. It's not because you're trying to critique the game. I'm sure he knew before Bronny came into the league, there was going to be some critiques. You're LeBron James. You've been critiqued since you were 16 years old. Now you're bringing your son into the league after a lot of people think that he doesn't deserve a spot in the NBA. He knows there's going to be critiques. The problem is he's bashing him as a father on national television. That's always been the problem. It's never been because of how Bronny's playing on the court. It's never been because of how LeBron is playing on the court. It's never been that. And people are ignoring that because it's LeBron.
Pen, you said you had some notes.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to hear this.
Did anyone listen to the whole 1 hour and 11 episode? Like, did everyone? No? Okay. So, you know, he talked about a lot of stuff. You know, some of it is good, some of it's bad. And I just want to point out before I start that it's possible to believe that both people are out of pocket. I'm not sitting here trying to, you know, support Stephen A. Smith. I've had a lot of issues with Stephen A. Smith, from his coverage of certain players to, you know, certain times where I feel like, you know, yeah, man. Places where I feel like he's gone out of pocket. But, you know, it feels like everything LeBron says is double speak. You know, there's like a secret message behind it. I'll give you two examples. Okay. Number one, Rondo, right? Claiming that the Boston had a big four with Rondo, right? Is that fair? Is that a fair thing to say? Now,
it depends on the years you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. It depends on the years, because you could make an argument that early in that iteration of the Boston Celtics, Rondo was very young and it was fair to call it a big three. Mm-hmm. And then later on, he usurped, you know, Ray Allen, and it became a new big three with Rondo. So I just feel like, you know, everything he says is somehow designed to boost his legacy. The thing about Giannis and 250 points, we all agree that LeBron better than Giannis, right? And for a lot of the same reasons. He's an athletic, you know, amazing athlete. So when he's saying Giannis has scored 250 points in an older era, he's doing two things, really. He's systematically sort of tearing down the past, number one. Not only is he lying, absolutely, he is lying. Giannis would not score 250 points in the 70s. Be for real.
It was an embellishment. 100%.
But don't you think the older generation does that to this generation of basketball every day?
It was an embellishment.
No, okay, he was being
hyperbole. Yeah, Pen, you're entirely too smart to know he didn't actually mean 250 points. I know
he was being hyperbolic.
I know you know that, but to your point, he was being facetious and he embellished. He did.
Yes.
But don't we know that they do that to this generation every single day? When people say AI will go out and average 40 for a season, like that,
no,
that's not the same thing. 40. But I'm saying, isn't that not the same thing? People say,
and we do it on this show.
Exactly. I don't know about AI.
How many times have I heard Jordan would average 45 in today's game? How many times have I heard that?
It's like when somebody says that somebody from this generation
Jordan
will go back
would be closer to averaging 45 in this game, and AI would be closer to averaging 40 in this game than Giannis would be to averaging, I don't know, 50, 65.
But why is it disrespectful though? Like
he's saying,
it is okay, John D. It is hella disrespectful because it's coded. Okay, it's saying one thing, but it's pointing to something else. It is coded. Okay, it is coded because he's not saying I would go out and score 100, because then people would criticize that and be like, "What a pompous jackass." No, he's saying Giannis would do this in the 70s. So that
was Giannis the question, or did he just use Giannis?
It wasn't even a question.
The way.
They were talking about evolution. It started. They were talking about
he brought the conversation to evolution. So here's a little summary of what he talks about. Talks about Rondo being the big four in Boston. Why though?
Yeah,
because he was a great. He also making the big three. By the way, let me put that out there. Oh, y'all coming at me for creating a big three.
Yeah, they did.
They had a big four. That's why we created a big
modern.
three.
So
that's the thinking. I did not know that he lived in Akron the entire time he played in Cleveland. So he told that story. That was very interesting.
He bought 2 blocks and built 1 house.
Amazing. He confirmed the cookie story with Pat Riley. So he did.
Yeah, that was the most fascinating part to me. I was like,
no, me too, Mars.
Yeah,
I don't. Okay, so after joking about JJ Redick being a podcaster, he said that he breathes the game. He's a dickhead. He talked about, he called him a dickhead. He said he's like a dickhead in the best way. He talked about a lot of Duke guys being dickheads, Coach K, Shane Battier, but he meant it endearingly. JJ has put a lot of he says JJ has a lot of Coach K in him. So apparently, like, his experience with Coach K was positive with Team USA. He said people who thought Luka and LeBron wouldn't work are idiots. Specifically, people who thought that LeBron would not bend to accommodate Luka. And then he got into this whole rant about people being casuals. And then he made a very interesting point, which is to say that he said a lot of ex-players, I don't know if y'all caught this, he said a lot of ex-players basically played until they were still talented because they were bigger, stronger, faster than other people, but they couldn't think the game. So basically calling a lot of NBA players, ex-NBA players, stupid, effectively relative to him. Because
I just agree.
And well, okay, cool. You can disagree. That's cool.
I'm saying I agree. A lot of athletes do that.
Well, I agree. I agree with him too. And then he pointed that out as to say, at 40, I can still play this game for that reason because I am super smart. Regarding talking heads in the media, he said he's lost a lot of trust in the media. That they started with the decision largely, where he raised $2.5 million for a good cause. He alluded to it being like his college moment because he never got to go to college. So having that moment on national television to be able to put on a hat, it felt like he was finally going to go to college because basically he lived in Akron for 25 years. And I thought that was a very humanizing part of what he said. In terms of Stephen A. Smith, he said he took a lot of shots at Stephen A. Smith, called him on a Taylor Swift tour, which I think is out of pocket, but personally, whatever.
He is though, Pin.
What is like the context of the Taylor Swift tour that makes it negative context?
I feel like Taylor Swift makes it negative, but okay. People in the media get too comfortable, he said. I agree. By the way, I agree with this.
I do agree with that.
Mars is a Swiftie.
What kind of tour is Taylor Swift on? Like,
a legendary tour that sells out everywhere she goes in seconds.
She's on a world tour.
You could have compared it to anybody,
like
bro. Calling it a Taylor Swift tour.
She's the most well-regarded artist in the world. That's respectfully,
well-regarded by who?
Well, I think she gets the most.
Another good question. By who?
Like, children, young people.
You have no idea how big of a deal this chick is. You have no idea.
Trying to buy tickets, they sold out in 16 seconds.
Not Tim Duncan.
You have no idea how big of a deal this chick is.
She not Tim Duncan.
You could have said Beyonce tour. You could have said Jay-Z tour. You could have said Kendrick tour. You could have said Drake tour.
Well, they don't sell like Taylor Swift either, by the way.
None of them do.
Okay, whatever.
Combine them and they don't.
Okay, fine. So I agree that people in the media are way too comfortable. Local and national, Swiper. I'm gonna say this: local and national people in the media believe that they are untouchable. And he brought up, what would have happened if you would ask Charles Oakley back then about his brother, you would have gone smacked in the face, and I agree with that. And he brought up that reporter bringing up Joel Embiid's brother, and brought that up as a particularly egregious example of the media taking shit too far, and I agree with that. Where I drew the line, which is to say, I'm out, is when he went at Brian Windhorst. That to me crossed the line so hard because of one thing. Now, I listen to the Hoop Collective. I have listened to Brian Windhorst for a very long time. I'm not a super fan of his at all. I count him as one of maybe the 30 most influential people in NBA media. I think we could all agree that he has done a pretty good job with ESPN. He's a lot higher than 30. I'm being generous because I'm not really a huge fan of Brian Windhorst. But one thing I will say is Brian Windhorst has always kept his story consistent. Now, you can think of him as a LeBron stalker, a weirdo, someone who just fought. He has never said he was LeBron's best friend. He never said that. So for LeBron to throw him under the bus and say this guy's weird as hell. He been acting like he be telling people like he's my best friend. That's just a blatant lie.
Well,
now I want to point out one more thing.
Publicly, we don't know what's
Hang
happening
on.
behind the scenes though. So
I have never in my life, not even that GOAT James Kingdom guy that y'all bring up every now and again. Okay, I've never in my life, and I appreciate you shaking your head in disapproval, John D. I caught that. I have never in my life seen someone defend LeBron harder than Brian Windhorst. He has never said a bad thing about him. He has defended him like to blue hell. I don't even understand how he comes up with some of these arguments.
Because you don't depend, because the assumption is we also are not privy to the things that have happened behind the scenes. Remember, LeBron
himself said nobody in the media knows me better than Brian Windhorst. I know, now you acting like he's a stalker.
I'm
I don't
saying
appreciate that.
The reason why I'm saying it's not about you appreciating it. The issue is that behind the scenes, we don't know, with what I'm saying. I'm also saying Brian Windhorst has been around LeBron since he was 15. We don't know what happened at 15, 16, 17, 20. And Brian Windhorst, to his own admission, has built his career off of LeBron James, following him from 100%. High school to Cleveland. So I'm saying we don't know.
Covering him.
No, I know.
You're in the media. Stand on business here.
No. Following is still true. He got his first national gig because he was the one covering LeBron in high school. And once he went to the NBA, Brian Windhorst's career went from high school to the professional level. It doesn't mean he's not great at what he is. I'm saying that's how he got to start. But how you get your starting, and just to be clear, Penn, I have by and large gotten my due because of Joker. That is a part of how I got here. Skip Bayless got where he got because of Jordan. That's just the way it works. Stephen A got where he was because of Allen Iverson.
Howard Cosell got to where he was because of who? Ali, Muhammad Ali. That's just
what happens. Like, it's just sometimes you have those relationships. So I'm saying,
because of Fred VanVleet and Davion Mitchell.
No, it's
you understand
Scotty Barnes. It's 100% because of Scotty Barnes, and I know that. Okay, I get what you're saying, but if one day after all this shit that you've defended Jokic defense, Jokic everything, you've been like, look at all the deflections he be getting. Look, he's so great. All this defense that you have played for Nikola Jokic up here, more defense than he's ever played in his whole life. Okay. That's how much defense you playing for Nikola Jokic up here. Imagine one day Nikola Jokic asked about Swiper and he'd be like, he'd be acting like my best friend. He weird as hell. Imagine that. Imagine that. You cool with that? You cool with
what someone else does has nothing to do with me though. I mean, honestly, like it just doesn't have anything to do with me. Like what they say about me has no impact on where I am, what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Respectfully, it's what I'm saying.
It's low, okay, and you will agree, if you're being straight about it, that you would be somewhat disappointed if Nikola Jokic, after you have, done nothing of the nature of saying that you were his best friend, just go out and tell everyone on national TV that you're this weird as hell dude. I mean, you need to consider the platform that he just laid all this shit bare.
100%. I was about to say that too, Penn, because I mean, have we ever seen James in this kind of form? No, we haven't. And
how many times he swear? I have not seen LeBron James swear this many times, and I'm not against it. I swear as many times as you want. I swear all the time. But
all I'm saying, Penn, is we've seen James in interviews. We've never seen him in this kind of form. And again, I didn't watch the interview, but Pat Mcafee is one of those guys whose show is very unfiltered. So when you come on his show, you say exactly how you feel. And it seemed to me, again, and I'm not going to say that I saw it, but from what I've heard, it seemed like a clearing the air type of interview. Like, whatever you want to know, let's get to the bottom of it.
I don't think so.
That's what it seemed like.
I don't think so because, first of all, this whole thing about Brian Windhorst set me off. The second part of this, that I was with LeBron the whole way. Okay, everything he's saying about the media, getting too comfortable, everything he said about Bronny James, the humanizing nature of how he painted Bronny's cardiac arrest to coming back to playing. I don't think anyone's ever laid it out as well as LeBron just did. Straight up. Like the way he laid out that entire 24 months, it's amazing. And it really does make you, even if you don't believe in Bronny being some super NBA player, you do feel like rooting for this kid to be successful. I can't imagine a person out there who's rooting against him to be successful.
Plenty of people.
The part about Michael Jordan.
You just had somebody up here yesterday.
Who?
Rooting against him?
Y'all heard him. The Drench Man. He had nothing good to say about him.
I don't think Jordan's rooting against him. I just think he doesn't believe in his game very much.
Yes.
I don't think Jordan is sitting there actively being like, oh, I hate Bronny James, I want him to fail. I don't think that's happening at all. I don't think he's doing
That's
that.
what I think he said.
But you could ask him when he's up here.
Yes, I will. Next time I see him,
the part about Michael Jordan, the part about Michael Jordan, that part was bizarro as hell. So it's the Brian Windhorst part and it's the Michael Jordan part that threw me off a little bit, saying that he don't really have a relationship with Michael, but he believes and he hopes that relationship will get better, you know, when he retires, and that he doesn't have this relationship because Michael's still because he's still playing right now. Well,
is that fair?
That is a lie.
Bro?
That is a lie. 100% that's a lie. Because I'll tell you, there's a lot of players who've had relationships with Michael Jordan while they were playing. Kobe had a relationship with Michael while he was playing. He called him all the time. He called him Big Bro, right? Melo had a relationship with Michael Jordan. Did he not?
Yes, he did.
Partially because of Jordan Brand, but like I mean, there's plenty of guys who've had relationships with Michael Jordan.
Carmelo Anthony was Carmelo Anthony the greatest of all times conversation?
Acting like Michael Jordan is not going to have a conversation. Like what I don't like is how LeBron spins the narrative. Like I kind of get sick and tired of it. Michael had good relationships with Magic. He had good relationships with he had good relationships with a lot of players across the league.
That doesn't mean that they're just
Magic, Barkley.
Right.
Are you telling me that you're trying to create some bullshit ass narrative right now that because you wear number 23 and because you're coming for his throne that he don't want to talk to you?
All he said was there's distance in the relationship.
That's all he said.
But he also, they talk to each other in person.
That's not all he said.
They also talk to each other in person. They're not close like him and Kobe. Like they don't have that relationship.
Right.
Cool.
That was it.
But to be fair, Mike also said at first he didn't like Kobe. Why? Because he stole all my moves. They didn't like. Remember, he said Mike even said about Kobe, he was constantly pestering me when I was younger, and I had to get used to it. And it took years for me to get used to that. This is just how Kobe is.
It wasn't like they were always cool. That wasn't going on.
To talk to me. He wants to learn from me.
He's calling me at 2 o'clock in the morning.
He's doing that. He had to get used to it.
Within 2 years of Kobe.
LeBron ain't like that.
He's calling me at 2 o'clock in the morning. He's calling me at 3 o'clock in the morning. That was going on.
I just don't believe in this narrative that somehow LeBron doesn't want to be your Jordan doesn't want to be your friend because you're wearing number 23 and you're coming for his throne, because that's how it sounded to me.
How can we confirm that? How can we confirm that? Like,
because Michael, if you look, okay, for real, John D, if you for real, do you think that Michael Jordan thinks that LeBron is in his conversation?
I don't know him, so maybe not. Maybe I don't know. I don't know Michael.
Does anyone up here actually think Michael's sitting up there being like, man, I really don't want to talk to this guy. I want to get.
You know why? I can't speak to that. I have no idea. Jordan drinks, golfs, and smokes. He doesn't do anything else.
What I see of him, I don't know.
Can't speak to it.
And knows he's the GOAT.
10-minute conversation.
Jordan knows, just like everybody else up here knows, that LeBron can't get with him. So basically what Penn is saying is that LeBron is spinning a nasty narrative that Jordan doesn't want to talk to him because he thinks that he's on his level, when in all actuality, Jordan knows LeBron's not on his level. So it is LeBron that doesn't want to be cool with Jordan because psychologically he knows that he can't quite get there.
No.
There you go, Ron. There you go. There you go. There you go.
No.
Right?
No, I'm just saying I don't think Jordan fucks with him.
Okay, and we can leave it at that. That's two grown men.
But hold on. But my criticism for Jordan doesn't even have nothing to do with that. My criticism with Jordan was really, want to talk about like Michael Jordan, is that when he had the opportunity in the 1990s to stand for his people, he refused to do so on multiple occasions because people didn't want it. If we're gonna do this, I can do it. Jordan said Republicans wear sneakers too. He didn't criticize none of the stuff that happened with the crime bill. He didn't criticize anything out the Republican Party because he knew his money came out of that. And then on top of that, Jordan, who's donated a lot of money to a lot of different things, a lot of different public places, a lot of fundraisers, a lot of different stuff. Jordan also is one of the ones that was funding the other folks on the other side that was putting folks into jail. So I'm telling you, if you want to get nasty, I can get nasty. I can speak to LeBron. I know what he did in Akron. I know he's put thousands of kids through Akron, Ohio, through that school. I know LeBron has. I know LeBron has built a school and job training center for literally thousands of low-income families as well. Everybody got dirt. But my issue is like now we're like bringing up stuff and mystifying things about Jordan. not just you. I'm just talking about in general. Jordan had a lot of things that he had going against him as well.
Jordan.
But it's just bigger story stuff. But it really, you know what I mean?
It's like Candyman. You said Jordan 3 times. He popped up.
Be on some real life, like
yeah. I've been in the background just listening and listening, and I can't believe some of the stuff y'all saying, man. I just cannot believe
about
it.
What?
First of all, Swiper, you going on a tandem that I think is very, very biased. Number one, but
Jordan, straighten me
about information. I don't have a dog in this fight.
Jordan, straighten me out.
I don't have a dog in this fight.
Yeah, let's get to the bottom.
I don't care. I just not even. This is not a swipe.
You sound like you care. You pulling a LeBron right now.
You just care a lot.
I don't care.
I'm just saying, like, well, there are things that we know about Jordan as well. That's all I'm saying. Not this Jordan. We know a lot of things about.
There's a million things we know about Jordan. That was never the point. That's not the point.
Jordan froze.
Jordan, you did?
I didn't hear what Swiper said. What did Swiper say?
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about
Nothing much.
Nothing.
Yeah, it was some nonsense. But I'm just saying, Swiper is very biased because you think the way you think is right, and you think if anybody disagree that's wrong. That's why you're biased to it. It is what it is. Like there's more than one way to think, Swiper. That's number one. Number two, the whole idea. First of all, chill. The whole deal about you talking about
straighten me out, brother. Straighten me out.
Whole idea about you saying I'm rooting against Bronny is crazy. Like, why can't I just be a basketball guy that just tells the truth?
You can be, but it doesn't sound like that. It doesn't.
Why does it sound like I only talk about basketball? I didn't say nothing about the kid's personal life.
I ain't say nothing. All we talking about is basketball. We ain't talking about him in life.
Yes,
we ain't talking about him as a man. We ain't doing that. We just talking about him as a ball player.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan or enemy of Bronny James or whatever. I'm just a basketball fan. That's it. I talk about basketball players. I 100%. Talk about other players the same way I talk about Bronny that I don't think are good basketball players.
Right.
Nothing's wrong with that.
And even though the stuff that we've seen from him in his development, you still are no trash.
Because I've seen it from other people too. I said the same thing about Davion Mitchell. I said Davion Mitchell's playing good right now. I still think bottom line he won't be an NBA player for long. Nobody talks about I hate Davion Mitchell.
You think Davion Mitchell's gonna be out the league?
Yes.
I've been saying that out of the league. I don't think
I've been saying that about Jamal.
No, he's not.
That's okay. That's fine. But I said about Jamal Shead too. I said it about a lot of guys. Like y'all just y'all just hear Bronny and y'all lose y'all mind, and then y'all under the impression that he's an 8-year-old boy. That is a grown ass man.
He's an adult. 100%. He's an adult.
Yeah, I never talked about him when he was in high school. I saw Bronny play 10 times in high school. I never talked about him. I never said, "Oh, this kid's." No, I kept my comments to myself. I watched him go through college. I watched him go to the NBA, and now my opinion is that on him. Now, on the other part about LeBron James, I told y'all weeks ago when I said that what LeBron did was very corny because of this reason right here. Now it has shifted from LeBron defending blah, blah, blah to now we got a back and forth with Stephen A. Smith, who's just as powerful as LeBron James. And I've said yesterday before all of this started, Stephen A. Smith get paid plenty of money to do what he does. Sure. That's power. That's power. Whether you want to agree with it or not, it's power.
No, 100%. It's not as much as James, but keep going.
Sure, but this where you don't think it's that much. This is where you don't think it's that much because for a long time, for 22 years of LeBron James' career, nobody has ever criticized his personal life or dug into his personal life.
In 22 years, wait a minute.
22 years, what story have they created about LeBron?
The FBI was investigating him for steroids.
Did anybody speak on that on ESPN?
Yes,
I know a teammate that dug into his personal life.
Yeah, I do too. But chill, you didn't see nobody speak about that on ESPN. You didn't see nobody.
Keep that camera off.
Yeah, that's crazy, Ron. That's crazy. You also didn't see nobody criticize what Bronny was doing outside the court. When I know a lot of things he was doing outside the court that came to the light that nobody talked about. The media members never asked him about.
Why isn't anybody talking about it? Because it sounds to me like if this is what's going on, if this is what, to your point, Jordan, if this is what's going on and nobody talked about it, that means that people, because it sounds to me like it's some pretty substantial stuff. So if nobody talked about it, that means that we have to keep this under wraps, which means that James has to be a part of that.
Right. You know better. Yeah, the cash cow is always protected.
Which means that makes him that means that it makes him pretty powerful
too. Let's be real. Michael was protected too.
Nobody.
Well, that's Sam Smith said that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
of course,
that. Sam Smith said that we protected him more than we'd like to admit. 100%.
Yeah,
that part I'm not arguing.
But chill. But the problem what I say is why it's corny is because I saw what this could get into for a long time. Nobody talked about his personal life. Now he's battling with Stephen A. Smith, who's telling you I will go personal. LeBron don't need that for his career. LeBron's been an outstanding guy for his career. Now, every fan can act like they don't know that people have dirt in their closet.
Sure.
You can be naive if you want to about LeBron, but there's things about LeBron that people could say that nobody does. So when he puts himself out there the way he did, that's why I said it was corny, because it's like, bro, you've been doing this for so long to where you know how to navigate through things, and now it's like, bro, you sit down.
So Jordan, what you're trying
I
to
agree with.
me,
hold on, Chip. Hold on, because I agree with Penn on certain things. Like he sit down, and some of the comments, like you might have thought it was jokeful. He wasn't like some of those comments is out of pocket. Number one for you, what he said about Stephen A. Smith sitting eating ice cream, talking about him and tidy whities is like, bro, you tripping, bro. Like, because if we can talk like that, let me talk like that. Because ain't nothing off limits when we talking like that.
That's a 60-year-old grown man. He talking about a 60-year-old grown man who's a veteran in his field. Look, we can respect LeBron for what he's done in his field.
Disrespectful?
Right?
Ain't nothing wrong with
in his tidy whities.
What's wrong with eating ice cream in your tidy whiteys? If you wear tidy whiteys,
thinking about another man is crazy.
Different type of dude.
Right.
If you think there's nothing wrong, watching another dude, you sitting there. What are you insinuating? If you say saying he into me?
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I mean, that's what he was saying.
That's what he's saying. He stopped short of saying he's touching himself while he's doing this. He's getting off on this. He's up there with his ice cream and his tidy whities. Why you got to get so descriptive about this? And that's just so damn disrespectful.
I want to get back to what Jordan would
be professional about this, right? You could say he dragging it. You could say the Taylor Swift tour, but what are you saying when you add Taylor Swift, ice cream, and tidy whities in the same damn friggin' sentence? Come on, man. we're talking about a 60, 61, 62-year-old professional who is at the peak of his game. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I like Stephen A. Smith. I've never liked Stephen A. Smith. Ever. When those dudes were trolling him at the draft, I was laughing my ass off. Okay? That was some of the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. I don't like Stephen A. Smith, but I can respect him.
Can we just admit, my overall thing is this is dumb. Both sides are handling this not the best way possible. And there's a better way for everyone to deal with this. But I'm saying that this is turning into a whole thing, and it's probably going to keep going for a little bit. And it never should have happened in the first place.
It's retaliatory. Okay. We can agree that Stephen A. Smith is out of pocket for saying, as a father, I would do this. Because the minute you say as a father, you're taking it beyond basketball. I'll agree with that. The second thing is let's agree that LeBron has Stephen A. Smith's number. He could have texted him, called him. He could have met with him. He could have done anything. He decided to humiliate him. And he did that on purpose, by the way. That's a power move. I'm big dog here. He went up to him, knowing the cameras were on, and he made it very clear what he was doing. And he let everyone see his lips when he was doing it, because he knew that clip would go viral, that LeBron stood up for his son and all this stuff. Okay. Now you have humiliated him, who is all the way.
If I see you in person and I get to deal with you in person, what's the problem?
You're escalating it, Chill. That's the problem.
Okay. So you took it here and then I took it somewhere else.
Okay.
It's a me problem.
That's not a you problem. But if you want the smoke,
now Jordan, Jordan, to your point, Jordan, to your point, it sounds to me like James doesn't want this issue because there's a lot of things that I know about you that I can put out on the street.
That's exactly
you don't want me to do that.
That's exactly what it is.
There's a lot of stuff that I know about you that I can put out on the street, and you don't want this problem with me. Well, with that being said, are we basically saying that now we got two people that could possibly destroy each other? Because as much as you know about me, I have the means that I can find out a lot of foul stuff about you too. And what does this ultimately end up being? This ultimately ends up being something bad.
Corny. Fight. Nobody wins.
Nobody wins. Corny. Nobody.
Yeah. But the idea is that LeBron James might have a little bit more. Like Stephen A. Smith then showed his character a little bit. Like Stephen A. Smith then got on his show and did a little stuff that we didn't think Stephen A. Smith would do. So, it is what it is with Stephen A. Smith. With LeBron, we've seen no side of LeBron besides a family man and basketball. and the books he be telling that he read about. That's about it. We ain't seen no other side of LeBron. And I don't think it's necessary for us to do that. Like Michael Jordan don't do interviews. Michael Jordan don't do controversy really. Like for that reason alone. So when Swiper said what he said about Michael Jordan and his not standing up, bro, that's just Michael Jordan thing. He don't involve himself.
I'm agreeing with you, and he got criticized for it. I've just brought it up as a point to say that Jordan had things about him that people widely criticized, and that obviously affected the narrative around Jordan. I was just bringing that in relation to LeBron. I think people just don't remember that, and then they don't remember 2020, him donating $1 million to the police and all that stuff. That was a part of like Jordan's criticism. That's all I'm bringing up. Just for evidence sake.
And Jordan has done a bunch of great things. Like in 2001, when he came back to the Washington Wizards, he donated his whole salary that year to the 9/11 fund. He didn't play. He basically played for free in Washington. He donated every dollar that he made that year to what was going on in 9/11. He did do that.
Okay, so
Jordan, I think we're on the. If I'm not mistaken, I think we're on the third. Real quick, Penn. I think we're on the third hospital now that Jordan's built in North Carolina. With free Medicare, where people don't have to pay to get fixed up. So Jordan has done a lot of great things in the community, no doubt about that. He 100% has.
Yeah, I just don't think that. I just don't think that when I brought this to the panel weeks ago, and when I said that it was corny, I said it was corny for this reason alone, though, because I saw where it could go, and it's like, why wouldn't it? Both parties have some wrongdoing. Like I said, I even said that what Stephen A. Smith said. I'm not saying Bron is wrong for feeling how you feel. You're gonna feel mad about it, but how you handle it is totally different.
Look, I'm definitely the wrong person and the wrong pigment to even say this to you, Swiper. But I want to ask you: do you know anything about Jordan Wings?
About what?
Jordan Wings.
Jordan Wing. What are Jordan Wings?
It's a program that focuses on giving education, mentorship to.
His mother. Yeah, his mother. He's
so nasty. Okay.
No, I've met his mother.
Would you agree that Jordan Brand, specifically Jordan Brand, under Michael Jordan's leadership, has very much elevated or given a lot of access at the leadership level to minority executives?
At the executive level, mm-hmm. I mean, sure, probably, but that's not really been a criticism of Jordan Brand, period, though. Like, sure, yeah.
I want to say that certain people have to cross so other people can run. Certain people have to cross so other people can walk. Some people walk so people can run. Okay. When LeBron James came into the league, it was a league that, in my opinion, Michael Jordan built. Okay. And I feel like Michael Jordan always had the humility to know that he came into a league that Larry and Magic built. And I'm always respect the past. I like to respect the past. You never see me come up here and try to disrespect Ticket TV or Dub or really anybody who built this. Who he didn't build this platform, bro. Don't get me started on this shit. Okay, you never see me disrespect anybody who built this platform, because I'm benefiting from the platform that you have built. You're not going to see me tear down the past, just like you're not going to see me pick against you, Mr. Swiper, in the PCL, because I support the people that I am associated with. I support the people against Swiper. That's hating, but that's my point. Like, you got to support your own. You know what I mean? And if you're an NBA player, you're part of a very exclusive fraternity. You tearing down Bob Cousy's dribble, or the previous eras that have basically built the league for you to come in and make millions of dollars right away. You taking private jets, they were taking friggin' charter jets, they were on buses, they were making $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 a year, non-guaranteed money, and you're cribbing about how you missed out on NIL. To me, the greatest leaders are ones who build with the past and the future in mind, not just the future and not just the present. So to me, that's what I feel. I could be wrong, mistaken. I was very young when Michael Jordan was coming up. I don't remember him tearing down the past this way. I really don't.
No, but the league wasn't even in the same place. Like, I think that there is hostility that exists in the NBA between older players and younger players. There's been that. Basketball is as Chill knows, it's a very personal sport, and it's a very one-on-one. The same thing Brandon Jennings is going through with Drew Holiday and like Gilbert Arenas and all that right now. Basketball breeds like one-on-one, me versus you, I'm better than you. Jordan excels in that. Why Jordan's a really good coach. He does a lot of one-on-one training, all that stuff. You understand that. the NFL doesn't have the same issues because the NFL is about the shield and the team is more important. That's why Tom Brady can mentor people. Patrick, even as opponents, like can talk to Patrick Mahomes, have a relationship with Peyton Manning, have a relationship with Joe Montana, have a relationship with Joe Burrow and all them. There's a different type of respect that exists. The NBA, by nature of what it is extremely competitive. Now, Bird, Magic, and them, they got along over time. Bird, Magic, and Jordan got along over time as they respected each other through competition, but it wasn't like that at first. Bird and Magic, even, they respected each other, but it took them a little while to become friends, as Chill remembers, because they just thought that they were quote unquote enemies. Remember, a lot of the language that older players use about players now is that they're too friendly with each other. Everybody works out together.
What are you yapping about? Melo and LeBron were friends. D Wade and LeBron were friends. Like Amari and LeBron were friends.
I'm saying,
what does that mean? I'm talking about tearing down the past.
Yes, I'm saying the criticism from old heads that played in the 80s, 90s.
That was going on.
So did Michael Jordan come in and say, "Oh, Dr. J was nothing"?
No, he didn't. But Chamberlain.
Did he say Kareem was nothing? Did he say Wilt was nothing? Did he say Russell was nothing?
No, but Chamberlain had a problem with Jabbar while that was going on. Yes, he did. Chamberlain and Jabbar had a problem, and Chamberlain was out the game at that point for a long time. And he had no, it wasn't different. No, it was not different. It was the same thing that he was tearing down what was going on.
But Penn, I guess what I'm saying is how does Wade, Melo, and LeBron disprove my point when it's previous generations older than that are criticizing to this day how friendly players are with each other?
Acting like, look, I just believe that there needs to be a certain expression of humility to the past, because I would never respect if Nikola Jokic came out and said Arvydas Sabonis was a bum. He didn't do nothing. I would have been way better. I wouldn't. When you say that a player that you are clearly better than would score 250 points, I don't care. I'm stuck on 250 points. Even if you meant 150, even if you meant 100, whatever you're saying about the previous generation, and then you allow
this doesn't make sense.
How they dribble.
They say older players would dominate this league to this day.
Every day they do it every day.
They say that.
They do it every day.
They say they would be the best players in the world to this day. What's different about that?
There's There's a lot of older players that would do very well in today's league, and I think
if I believe Giannis can score 100 points in a 1967 game, then I believe he could have done it. So, am I hating on the other players because I believe Giannis is that good that he could have did that?
That good. Giannis is amazing, but acting like he scored 250 points. You understand?
It is an embellishment. It's an embellishment.
What if he would have said 50? No. What if he would have said 50? You're getting caught up on a number that isn't realistic.
It's an embellishment.
He was clearly. It's not like he literally meant 200. He was clearly exaggerating.
What if he would have said 50? Would that have rubbed you the wrong way?
No. The fact that Giannis would have dropped 50, that would have been fine.
Him saying 250 is a representation of him saying he would have destroyed those guys. And he's right. Giannis would have wrecked the 70s or the 80s.
But what if they would have slammed his ass? Though they don't like put that.
So in fact, that's Giannis's game. Giannis's game is physicality.
Making free throws.
Then that's why he always
those games would have lasted 800 hours, Joe. There's an exaggeration. 800 hours per game.
That's why he plays the way he plays.
Physicality against somebody that's like he's the same size as him, but like physicality against Charles Oakley, that might not work.
He would have ate Charles Oakley lunch.
Charles Oakley would have
Jordan. One of our favorite childhood stories. We're similar in age. Me and Ox are very similar in age, and Ron too. So when I'm asking a genuine question, Penn, when we were children. And when it said John Henry raced a train and who can get through the mountain first, he was swinging 2 hammers versus a train, and John Henry beat a train in drilling a hole through a mountain. Does that offend you? Because are you taking that literally that an actual person with 2 hammers broke through a mountain before a man-made machine? Does that offend you? Or do you not get exaggeration and hyperbole in that context?
I actually don't really understand hyperbole or exaggeration too well. My brain does not read it well.
So that's where we are. Okay, then that's where we are. Sure.
But chill. Do you not agree that Charles Oakley would have broke his back?
No, I don't agree that Charles Oakley would have broke his back. No, a 6'9".
The game would have started at 8 p.m. It would have ended at 8 a.m.
He didn't break Karl Malone's back. He didn't do that. He didn't break Charles Barkley's back. He didn't do that.
He couldn't break backs, Chill. He couldn't do it.
No.
Focus, but wait, Swiper, do you fight the John Henry story?
I think John Henry probably did it. Legit. John Henry's a different kind of
person. There's a
we don't have video evidence, Joe. Look, dedicated to we ain't got video evidence of Wilt's 100, and we ain't got video evidence of John Henry doing it. But somebody told the story. Maybe it was
this my only problem with that. Now I understand y'all saying, oh, he's exaggerating, he exaggerated. The point of it is for people to be out here saying, oh, Wilt never scored 100. There's been serious shows about that. People are
audio evidence of the game.
There's people literally saying that never happened, right? So people can say that never happened. Then people like yesterday, Gifted came up here. People were upset because people say that T-Mac would have scored 40. AI, Jordan would have averaged 40, 38, 39, whatever, 40, whatever, right?
Your mic's bugging, bro.
All of that's been said, right? But it's no problem for Giannis to kill the 70s. So is it nostalgia or is it recency bias? Which one is it?
Thank you.
Like there's a problem with both of them.
It's a little bit of both. It just depends on what side you on. Like it's gonna be a problem either way it goes.
Thank you.
Either way it goes. And the thing about it is I think it's truth on both sides. I think like current players can dominate in past eras and past players can dominate in the current era. I think if you can hoop, you can hoop.
That's what makes them all-time greats. That point right there. Mm-hmm.
But all right, Charles, is there anything else that anybody wants to address about?
No.
Nothing?
No.
I blame
all right,
John
cool.
D, by the way.
I'm glad you guys are done because I have something.
No. I'm not.
All right, right quick, bro. You.
Your mic going in. We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. You got to log off and jump back on.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
All right, shit.
I told you about buying them cheap ass mics. Boy, don't listen. All right. Well, in the meantime, we do got some super chats, so
let's get to it. Let's get to it.
Draw Hat Sale said Paulo averages 4 more drives than he did prior to All-Star break. He's second in the league in scoring since the All-Star break, first in scoring in his last 12 games, leads the league in fourth quarter points post-break. How are we feeling about Paulo?
He's a Paulo guy. I love to see this. I love to see this.
Y'all gonna hear this bullshit whether you want to hear it or not.
Still clicking. You still clicking.
All right, man.
Sorry,
I'll tell y'all tomorrow. Shit. Go ahead.
Anyway,
y'all gonna catch this work one way or another.
Change your mic and turn it back on.
Yeah, but I would love to see Paulo truly figure out where he could be effective. And I've talked about this multiple times. I don't necessarily love the fact that Paolo Banchero gets as much isolations as he does, and I don't like how further away.
Why, John? I think he could be a damn good isolation player. Why?
Yeah, I get that. I just don't like the fact that he's all the way beyond the arc when he gets the ball because he's not that good of a handler. If he would get the ball at the elbow to where he could limit his handle just a little bit and use and lean a little bit more into his size and finish around the rim a lot better, I think he would get fouled more. I think he would get into the teeth of the defense more. He's such a great passer, so he'll definitely be able to to make defenses or punish defenses when they collapse on him. So if he gets the ball in the mid-range or gets the ball at the elbow instead of all the way out on the perimeter, he would be a little bit more effective in my opinion. So I just definitely think if he gets it at the elbow a little bit more, he'd be more effective.
You don't think Paulo got a good handle?
I don't think it's good enough for him to be getting as much isolation touches from as far as he is now.
I think Paulo got a good ass handle.
I do too.
But I mean, I agree with you though. I do think he should catch the ball. I think he should do a lot more work in the paint or in the mid post and on the block. I agree with that as well. But I mean, also too, and I said this a lot with younger players, and I don't cut them slack because if you're playing bad, you're playing bad. If you're inefficient, you're inefficient. But I do give them the benefit of the doubt that you have to learn where your spots are. You have to learn how to get to your spots. You have to learn what is most effective for you. And then once you learn where that is, then you have to grow in that area as well. Paulo is 21, 22. He is learning what he needs to do, how he needs to do it, and where he's going to do it.
What's your problem, Swiper? What's your problem?
Because I'm so sorry. I need to genuinely apologize to the audience. I don't mean to take us back where we just were, but Mars, I'm shocked. I did not realize that Kendrick Perkins said, "Why are you doing the show with Steve Nash and JJ, but not Draymond, Phil Handy, and Channing Frye and Richard Jefferson," implying like he doesn't want to platform black people.
Is he saying that Bron's Uncle Tom? That's crazy.
I didn't realize this was. This is. I'm stunned. Like this is like.
This
is
yeah, you good. This is bad for
basketball. Oh yeah, you smoking hot.
Yeah.
This is so bad for basketball.
Hey, y'all gonna catch
smoke. Yeah, Bron. Why ain't you doing a?
So 2 years ago,
no, that's crazy. Bron do a lot
too white.
We can't
slanted too white. Now 2 years later, Bron slanted too white. Man, oh, okay. Pin, I don't know, man. Maybe I don't know, man. Maybe you're right in the end. I don't know. I have no idea.
All I'm saying is this though. Bron out here basically saying the NBA is rigged, right? We all heard that, right?
He did.
We're all on the same page.
He did say that.
He said the draft was rigged.
So if Bron, I'm just saying, like David Stern would not stand for this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Adam Silver just let Bron run around the league doing whatever the hell he want to do, saying anything. And Adam Silver would not go for that. You can't have the GOAT. Bron's the GOAT, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
No.
Right. Bron's the GOAT, right? Bron,
Yeah.
you can't have the GOAT on TV.
Look at that unenthusiastic ass response.
It don't matter. It don't matter. Just it's only.
Yes, he is, Ben. 100% he is. Yes, Ben.
Majority of the people think Bron the GOAT.
One out of seven people up here.
He might not be the GOAT, but he most certainly is a GOAT.
Mars thinks Bill Russell's the GOAT.
We don't got to argue that, Pin. That's irrelevant. He's one of the best players you've ever seen. So with that being said, he's out here just saying that the NBA is rigged, right? So none of this shit even matters. This is what we was trying to talk about this last week or the week before. What's really happening? What are we watching? What's going on? If it's rigged, then is this just a soap opera? And we're just up here talking about nothing, wasting time. David Stern will not stand for this. I'm telling you right now, Adam Silver need to grow a pair of nuts. Okay, he need to grow a pair of nuts and he need to stand on them.
He said the draft was rigged, Ox. He didn't say the NBA was rigged, did he?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, the draft technically is.
If the draft is rigged, if the draft is rigged, right? The draft is rigged. MVP votes are predicated on voter fatigue and the white boy getting too many votes, according to Kendrick Perkins and all these other dudes, right? I'm
so it's a snowball effect. What you're saying,
you got to score 20. You got to score 20 plus to get DPOY or whatever it may be.
So it's a snowball effect. So if one thing leads to the next,
what are we doing?
One thing leads to the next thing, which leads to the next thing, which leads to the next thing. So we can't stop there, right? So now it's the poisonous tree. If the draft is rigged, that must mean the only awards are rigged. And if the only awards are rigged, that must mean that the game is rigged too.
You yourself, Chill, and you and of us up here, you care one of the most about accolades and stuff. But yes, you yourself will admit that there's such thing as voter fatigue, and they're not going to vote for this guy because of this and that. And Bron up here just saying, "Oh well, they wanted me to stay. They wanted me to stay home. I'm in Cleveland. I didn't want to fuck up and whatever he said. All that. Then bring up the Patrick Ewing thing, the Derrick Rose thing.
So if that's true, then
it's corny. I thought Bron was media trained.
Okay, first of all, number one, this is where it gets screwed up with me, Ron, because this is the same dude who told us when Luka got traded, right? This is the same dude who told us when Luka got traded that when did he find out? When did he find out about it? When Luka got traded?
Everybody else
he lied. We knew he lied.
Wait. So why isn't he lying about this, Ox? Oh, goddamn. Why isn't he lying about this? You just told me about the whole damn snowball effect. Why isn't he lying about this too? Give me a break.
That's a good point, Ox.
That's not a good point, Ron. That's not a good point.
He could be lying.
Why isn't he lying about this? This is the same dude who told us that he found out at dinner, but then come to find out that he wanted Morris in a trade, which means you knew. So if that's the case, so if that's the case, the NBA is rigged because they wanted me in Cleveland. Well, you signed an extension to stay in Cleveland. On top of that, you came back to Cleveland. You didn't have to go there. You didn't have to do that. You could have stayed in Miami for the next 8 years or 9 years. You could have done that.
He wanted to be in Cleveland.
Bron's a liar doesn't mean that he's supposed to get on TV.
I don't think he wanted to ever leave Cleveland.
Chill, how many people? I guarantee you, until about 2004, Swiper thought WWE was real.
To be honest with you,
wait. How is it not real now?
I was brokenhearted when I found out that.
See what I'm talking about? Swiper Swiper think WWE is real. So how many?
You think all them black women in that ring
that,
wrestling just for no reason? They going for the bread, dog.
So if all these people think WWE is real, right, Chill? Then how many people do you think are out here listening to Bron say that, and now they're like, oh, it's rigged. Oh, he confirmed it. You can't make a mockery of the NBA. That's what LeBron's doing. He's making a mockery of the NBA.
I agree.
And Adam Silver is just allowing it to happen.
But what's he supposed to do?
He
need to do what David Stern would have did.
I agree.
Man, say, Bron, you need to come see me right now. We need to talk about this.
I just want to put this out there for anybody who thinks the draft lottery is rigged. It is not rigged. Okay.
How do you know?
How you know, man?
Who are you?
Who am I?
The Magic women.
All right, come on, Pin. Talk to us. They're
what
taking you as a joke right now. We're all taking you serious. Go ahead.
No, first of all, the LeBron saying that the draft lottery is rigged did not convince anybody that the draft lottery is rigged, other than people who already thought it was rigged. There's one representative from literally every single team in the draft lottery who is privy to how the balls are selected. I understand that the draft lottery has been rigged before, specifically that, envelope with Patrick Ewing in 1985. I think there was some conspiracy about another team, but there are so many times where, did you say 2003? I don't think so. I don't believe in
21. Or was that 22? Wemby?
23.
San Antonio? Yeah, that was.
No, I don't think it is. Mm-hmm. And I think that people look, we are meaning generating machines. Okay. So if Wemby had been drafted to someplace else, y'all would have found some meaning. Oh, he went to a big market. Oh, obviously the league was going to put him in Chicago. Obviously the league was going to put him here. Anytime something doesn't work out in our favor, we find some excuse as to why it didn't happen. That's conspiratorial.
So do you believe that we know political elections are rigged in America? Do you think that the NBA has?
Oh, we know that. We know political.
Yeah, I can factually tell you
know that. You see what happened in 2020.
100%. So it happened here in 2018 in the gubernatorial election when 200,000 votes in Fulton County were not counted because of faulty machines. So I know. So I'm saying, do you think the NBA has like the purest safeguards from voting fraud, basically, of any entity in the U.S.?
No. I don't think they have the purest, safeguards against, that. But I do think that there are a lot of people that would have to go against themselves in order to allow something like that to happen. Okay. Victor Wembanyama, y'all can create the narrative all you want about him being in San Antonio. That is not the optimal place for him to be from a league marketing perspective at all. Okay. If the league really wanted to rig it, putting him in a bigger market would have made a hell of a lot more sense. San Antonio is not a big market. I would have rather put him in Houston. Okay. Oh, and then people would be like, oh, look, they had Hakeem, they had Yao Ming, and now they got Victor Wembanyama. The league is rigged. The league is not rigged. Again, every representative from every single, one representative from every single lottery team literally watches the results as they fold out. They are not allowed their phones inside that room. It is a very clear and very spoken about. This is public process. Swiper, you in the media, you could definitely talk to someone in Denver about it. No team would agree to allow another team to leapfrog everybody, and you know what I mean? Like, it's stupid. Okay.
Well,
there's too much money on the line now.
I will say the only thing that looks clearly rigged was the Luka trade. That looks clearly manufactured based on how it
once again between two people. There's a lot of league executives, a couple that I talked to, that said they had no idea that Luka could ever be traded.
Yeah, no one did.
So that's the point. So that's a conspiracy between two people. And look, conspiracies between two people happen. Okay, what Kevin McHale did, trading KG to his favorite team, the Boston Celtics, and not really, looking for the best package. What the Spurs did, trading Kawhi to Toronto, basically to spite him and saying like, "Oh, you want to go to California? Okay, you going to Toronto? We know you hate the cold." Yeah, those are conspiratorial in nature, in that a team kind of spited themselves to basically create an outcome that was not necessarily fair for the league. But in this case, I don't think that the draft lottery fits into that box because it involves too many people. It involves 14 teams, and 13 of them have to agree to lose for this whole thing to stand up. That's stupid. That's my point.
Yo, Pin, you muted. Chill, you muted. All right. Well, anybody else? Mars, surely you have something on. Nothing. Just the cookie story. That was it. That was the only thing that
Mars
infatuated you.
like Marshawn Lynch. She's like, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
All right.
Shame on Adam Silver.
Well, we have a super chat from Masinko. Masinko said, favorite NBA jersey of all time? Question mark, asking you guys. Then he said those dark blue Nuggets jersey with the yellow cursive during the Melo and AI era are up there for me. Shout out Luke Jackson from Oregon. Definitely shout out Luke Jackson and Luke Rittenauer. And shout out Eddie House. Shout out Arizona State.
I definitely like the Raptors jerseys, the purple Jones, the old Rockets jerseys, the dark blue. Really like those. Obviously Chicago black with the red stripes. That's a classic out here. Those are some of my favorites off the top of my head.
Anybody else? Favorite jersey?
That Chicago in particular?
No, just
around the entire NBA.
You know what I did like? What jerseys I did like though is back in like from 01 to maybe 04, them jersey dresses that the ladies was wearing. Those motherfuckers was so hard.
Mariah Carey and the Wizards.
Middle school?
To your point, John D.
Middle school, early high school. Hell yeah, y'all don't remember them?
I do.
See them dresses? All right.
Yeah, they wore them in the music videos.
They wore them in real life.
The jazz purple uniforms with the mountain on them. Those.
The starter jacket, the starter jacket with the Jazz, the purple ones were.
I really dug those.
I don't know if it's because it's my childhood, but like the blue and orange, like the orange little outline on the blue Knicks jerseys, Latrell Sprewell, those were cold as hell. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jay-Z wore an H to the Izzo, his music video.
Yeah, y'all know I've forgotten about jersey. Seattle Sonics. And shout out to Seattle Mariners jersey. We finna get busy today. You know, hey y'all finna come up here, get y'all ass packed up, 3 games, sit back down in Sacramento,
everybody to Atlanta.
At.
The battery is right down. I'm telling y'all, man, come through. Ox, you said you ain't been here. Chill, come through. We're gonna go to the games. There's a bunch of eateries over there. There's some social places over there. I'm telling y'all, man, the battery.
I'm gonna check and see when the Mariners come down there, Swiper. If they come down there this year, I'm gonna be down there.
For cheap too. You can get to Atlanta for cheap.
Yeah. Jeremy Conley said, "Yes, sir, PC. What's up, boys? Been here since Twitch. Pin, you gonna let Gifted get on your ass like that? Sheesh. I wouldn't let that slide. Winnie Hut Jr. knows ass."
Y'all agree with that? I told you to send me the link yesterday. But yesterday's problems do not become today's problems unless we let them. So what I'm going to say is this. That dude has gotten enough airtime, me talking about him for some bullshit that he brought up. If he wants to talk to me, next time I'm on, send him a link, have him come on, scream into a mic for 10 more minutes to see how it goes. All right?
Gifted did bring up a good point yesterday about us essentially
it's about damn time, Ron. It's about damn time.
A recap party, if you will, of us watching the closest PCL matchup.
Okay, cool. So, here's what I'm gonna say about that. Okay, I'm not speaking directly to him. I'm speaking directly to you. Okay, literally anybody up here. Okay, yes, sorry. I'm not sitting here watching a PCL debate 3 times. If you ask me who won between Chill and Mike, I ain't sitting there doing the play-by-play. There's money on the line, Ron. I'm rooting for Chill to win. I'm rooting for Ron to win. I'm not Ron to win. Jordan to win.
You, though.
Yeah, you can't win. You're gonna rig it. You're gonna rig it for yourself, anyways. I'm rooting for Mark to win. I'm not rooting for some random person to win against some dude that I've known for a year.
You're not rooting for me, Penn?
I root for you. I root
so why
for
you
you.
Say that? You said you room for Jordan, room for Chill, room for Mars, John D. You even brought
up at the bottom of the list, Ox. You on the list. You
better hope I don't catch up with you in the PCL.
I actually said it yesterday in the video on my stream that I am actually rooting for you, even though I think ZZ's going to give you work. I think I'm still rooting for you. Okay, right because there's money on the line here. What like my point is, I don't think if you're not thinking that way, if you don't want somebody that you've known for a year, that's your friend. You don't want that dude to win the 5,000. You want some random friggin' person from the wild cards to win the 5,000. You're not raised right. That's what I'm gonna say. You're not raised right. If I'm rooting against John D for some dude I never met before, and I've done a show with John D, I've known John D for over a year. We talk, like, I'm not raised right. So I'm supposed to dissect the video, like, oh, John D, you got cooked by this guy. No, man. So I'm not a judge.
You're supposed to just keep it real, though, Pin. Like,
I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it real, telling you that if you're my friend and I'm asked randomly who won, and I'm not a judge, I'm gonna say my friend won. I'm
all right,
fellas. Keep the buck that way,
fellas. Speaking of the PCL, just in case you're not privy to when the real Sweet 16 is, well, the March Madness Sweet 16 does start today, so you guys tap into those games. We'll probably talk about them tomorrow. There's some good games coming on today, but the PCL Sweet 16 will start back up on Sunday, March 30th, kicking off with Mars versus Cowboy Bob. Then we got Swiper versus Real Talk. Then we got Chill versus SB Talk Sports. Hayes versus Brax the Bandit, and Gifted versus Jordan. And then on Monday, we cap things off with 3 more debates. We got Ox versus Easy, the kid from Ohio versus John D, and then we got Penn versus Logan to close things out. This is the PCL Sweet 16. Make sure you are there, and also make sure that you pull up to the after parties. This is what we will be watching on Sunday. We'll be watching Cade Cunningham versus Anthony Edwards. And then on Monday night, we'll be watching Jalen Green versus, well, the big 3 in LA. So y'all pull up and watch that. And then also this Friday, we're going to be watching the Bucks versus the Knicks. This is a first round playoff preview potentially. So y'all pull up and have a good old time with us. And last but not least, James Harden versus Steph Curry. If you want to watch the James Harden versus Steph Curry, you have to become a Hall of Famer, and we'll send you that video. But we got the James Harden versus Steph Curry dropping this Saturday. Make sure you got your notification bell on so you can get an alert and you are ready for this video. All right, y'all. We do got more super chats, so let's get into it. Also, shout out to our Hall of Famers as well. But super chats, I got another one from Pimp named Slickback. He said, if you were a GM at the bottom of a bottom 5 team, what would your strategy be? Since 1990, only 4 of the top 5 picks have won a championship team or have won a chip with the team that drafted them. I think there's something to be said about culture and development.
It is.
Well, you draft Cooper Flag. That's the first thing. You know, if you have a bottom 5 pick, you take Cooper Flag, you try and pair him with the right coach. And nowadays, I think you should, instead of just putting really bad players around your good player for the next 2 to 3 years and trying to get the best picks, maybe you should just put some really competent players around your young player so he can develop better. I think a lot of teams do this where it's like, okay, we got this pick, you know, we're still very far away, so let's still tank to try and get another really good pick. But no, let's put our young player around some real NBA players because that matters in your development. So try and get the best coach, try and get some depth, try and get some guys that want to play, are willing to get better, are willing to put the work in. You develop those guys and you move forward based off what your young prospect is showing you.
I don't think you can get Cooper Flag by just saying we want to get Cooper Flag. He said bottom 5 team, not bottom 5 pick. And you can only at best give yourself 14% chance to get Cooper Flag. I do think I've talked to a lot of people that say NBA teams don't develop well. They don't invest in development. They kind of leave guys to themselves, especially the bad teams. So if you're a really bad team, you're probably not getting a really great coach. You're getting a young coach. So I would find someone enthusiastic. I would find somebody with a supportive staff, and I would put every dollar I can into development staff. I would invest in a lot of 3-on-3, read and react stuff. I would try to build up a basketball IQ of these young players, and I would try to create a sort of college environment, which is sort of what Memphis and OKC did. And I think they've had a lot of success with that. Because I think you need to find market inefficiencies, and I feel one of the biggest market inefficiencies in the NBA is teams don't develop well.
I would just trust the process. All right, we got another $50 super chat from Teddy Hart. Teddy said, do y'all remember when Dikembe Mutombo tweeted where he congratulated the team for getting the #1 pick prior to the lottery ending? Remember that?
I do remember that vaguely.
I didn't know that happened.
Y'all didn't know that happened?
I don't think that happened.
It is worth
memories, playing jokes on his memories, or his memories misremembering his memories. You know,
that's a nice callback, Ox. I appreciate that. But I do want to say that the draft lottery is done before the live show, so like it's not done in real time. Like that stuff, like who actually gets the picks, that's done in a private room before Mark Tatum comes out and tells everybody, hey, this is who got 8th pick, 7th pick, 6th pick. So yes, there's a group of people who know. And if one of those people leaked it to Dikembe Mutombo, then it's possible for him to have tweeted it like 10 minutes before. It is possible.
Shout out to Dikembe Mutombo. Masinko said, not gonna lie, I would actually pay money to see Chilltown play 2K. That would be hilarious.
Chill, you'd enjoy it. I bet my life on it.
When we was in Indianapolis, they was playing 2K. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing.
Smash the buttons, man.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was
said,
doing.
that being said, 2K's rating system and simulation system has gotten way worse.
I think the game in general has just gotten way worse. Like, I'm sorry. 2K is, you have to basically pay to play everything now. Like, you can't, like, grind a my player anymore. You can't really like build your player from the ground up like those days where you just like you practice, you put the work in park, you get the VC, you upgrade, you become a 93 overall, you got a 6'10 demigod, you're running the park. Now it's like I got to spend $75 to get to an 85. You know, like that. It's just what 2K has become.
See, the thing is, y'all wasn't from the trenches like Ox and I. What we do, we create the player 99 overall, put them on the team before you start the franchise, upload your self-made roster, and I already got the 99 on the roster, and I can play a lot if I want to, and that's my player I only play with, and I already got my player, and I play in GM, so I can do it for 10, 15 years. That's what we did. We didn't have all that my player. We had number 99 for the Chicago Bulls, number 23. That was Michael
live.
Jordan, 99 overall.
Live. That was live.
99 overall.
That
I know
2K. That was
you
live.
hush. You didn't play any of these games. 99 overall, Michael Jordan.
You saying I was too poor back then?
Player name.
I was too
player
poor
name.
to afford
23. Didn't want to be on the game.
I'm just correcting you to make sure that other people know that you were talking about NBA Live and not NBA 2K.
By the way, I will destroy y'all with 2K9 or 2K10 with Kobe and Pau Gasol. Destroy you. Best duo ever.
Yeah, with the best player in the game.
Best duo ever. That's of any generation, that's the best duo ever. And then Russell Westbrook in 2016, by the way.
You know,
you sound like
no, I do, but Russell Westbrook, I know, but Russ was easier. He's easier play. He just spammed.
Swipe. You know what you sound like saying that? You sound like Penn bragging about beating West when he got the OKC topic. Like
OKC.
I didn't brag about that. I never bragged about that. Don't ever bring that to me.
I didn't know that topic was going to be so controversial. Can't wait till y'all see the topics this week.
You got Kobe Bryant.
Ron, I like my topics. I'm telling you right now, I love my topics.
What's your topics, man?
I'm not leaking topics. You trying to?
Dikembe Mutombo made a leak. Nothing wrong with it.
I do want to say that Dikembe Mutombo did leak that the Sixers got the number 1 pick in 2016. Apparently, an hour and a half before the draft. But apparently, and I think it's because they had the number 1 odds to get the number 1 pick, and he just misread it, but he was right. That's the year they got Markelle Fultz, right? 2016? No.
The Celtics actually got the number 1 pick.
No, it was Ben Simmons in 2016.
Okay, my bad. So they did get the number 1 pick.
Yeah, in 16 they did. In 17 they had third and then traded up.
Anyways, I think he just saw the draft lottery odds and then lost his mind. In 2000, in year 2000, I bought NBA 2K and I made a creative player and I created myself and I put myself on the Chicago Bulls, 6'6". I actually thought I was going to grow to 6'6" at that point. It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
The problem with 2K is that y'all wanted an upgrade every year. They got to stop coming out with 2Ks every year. They need to come out with one every 5 years and just every year.
My Dreamcast 2K didn't need upgrades.
How much better can the game get? What else could they do? You're just playing basketball. Like, what else could they change?
Imagine that.
If they just made Park a similar, if they just made Park
We talk,
like
John D. We talking about video games. How much more can you do to a video game?
One thing.
We
Just
talking
one
about
thing.
basketball. Only thing you can do is change the roster.
They need to drop that limited edition, man.
Stopped playing
Look at that goat right there.
because I have to do everything again all over again every year. If they separated Park from 2K and made it like Fortnite to where you could just create a player and keep the player and then buy 2K separately,
Because
like
you
for
wouldn't do it.
example, Fortnite, you can download for free and pay money to get skins and stuff like that. And you don't have to worry about your skins are just disappearing when a new game comes out. You can just keep it. So that's why people who have had Fortnite on the same system since like 2017 have the John Wick skin, have other things like that. If I could just have Park and have my same player, and I could just
they did that with NCAA. You could draft off
2003.
NCAA to the NFL back in the day.
Tired of this shit? You sick of this shit?
It's kind of corny. It is. I apologize.
All right, so
hey, I still play the game.
I'm with y'all though. I'm with y'all.
Yo, they got historic teams. They got teams from the 50s. They got teams from the 60s. They got all time.
All I'm saying, Pin. The last time I played 2K, I was probably had on a South Pole t-shirt.
Play after I get off.
I had a South Pole leather jacket, boy. You couldn't tell me shit.
I probably had on. I remember I had a blue South Pole t-shirt. It was hard. I had the
my leather South Pole jacket was clean, my dude.
I thought it was silk. It was so, but I mean it wasn't silk, but I thought it was silk.
Shout out South Pole, South Pole, Fat Albert, Boo-Foo.
And I didn't even know it was. I didn't even know it was a big deal. I found it in Marshalls for like $60.
Is that knockoff Fufu?
No,
I didn't know.
I don't know about.
I didn't even know it was a big deal. I found it in Marshalls for like $60. Turns out,
Boo-Foo.
Like
buy us.
It's a dope jacket.
You.
Anyway, as you were saying, Ron, Super Chats. I know we got a bunch of them.
Sora Jiren became a YouTube member, and then Sora sent through a super chat and said, I'm probably tripping on this, but I feel like if a player is shooting high volume of threes, the efficiency has to go up. For example, 6 of 15 is technically 40%, but missing 9 threes is crazy in my opinion. What do you think?
I think you need a math tutor.
Yeah, because if you shoot a high volume of threes, that does not mean that your efficiency is going to go up.
It actually means your efficiency is likely to go down because there's a lot of diminishing returns with shooting.
100%.
I don't think that's what he's saying, but
what is he saying, Moss? Because if you shoot because what I read,
he's saying in order to shoot a high volume of threes, you should only shoot them. I mean, it's counterintuitive. He's saying you should only shoot them if you're going to make them. That's what he's saying. So he's saying 6 for 15 is 40% from 3. That's cool, but at the end of the day, you miss 9 threes. That's what he's saying. So you shot 15 threes, you missed 9 of them. So ideally, you shoot that many threes. You don't want to miss 9 threes in a game. That's what he's saying. He's saying he understands that it's 40%, but I don't agree with what he's saying. But that's what
people are intuitively very bad at converting fractions to percentages. I feel this is to be true, right? I tell you 2 for 5. I tell you 40%. You have a completely different reaction, but it's the same number, right? So there's an equation of all like equal, and certain numbers just feel bigger than other numbers. 5 for 6. Right? Like it feels like a certain number, but if I tell you 83.3%, that feels like a higher number somehow. You know what I mean? So I feel like people need to get comfortable with the idea of large numbers and missing large numbers of threes.
5 for 6 sounds bigger than 83%.
Well, see, that's the interesting thing, Ox. They're the same number. 83.3 is 5 for 6.
Well, I know that, Pin, but I'm just saying. Like, thanks, bro.
All right, hey, Pin, just keep schooling Ox. He needs your help. But in the meantime, MTEL22 sent through a members chat and said Bron realizing he was under 10 points in the fourth, laughing.
He ain't never gonna score under 10 in the regular season anyway. That's never gonna happen.
Never.
I when he broke that record, I never even knew it was a thing. And then clearly he values this record a lot. Like he's not scoring under 10. He will, if he has 9 points and the Lakers are up by like 4.
He's going back in the game.
He will sabotage the game to send it to overtime to score one more point. He will get his 10 points. I knew that's what was going to happen when Solomon Hill injured him and he decided to come back in to make a 3 just so he could keep his 10 points. Like he loves this streak a lot, and he's going to do what it takes. So shout out to bro.
1K David sent through a members chat and said, Show gets 50% less enjoyable every time Penn talks. Y'all feel that way?
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, that whole segment was just torturous. Penn was the biggest culprit, but the whole segment was bad. So
Penn, they just hating on you.
That's all good. Here's like free advice to anybody out there. Don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't ask for feedback from or advice from. So if you wouldn't go to somebody for advice, and to the chat out there, to the goofies in the chat, no offense, I'm not asking you for advice. So I don't really take your criticism or your feedback very well either. I don't really care.
So you don't care about the people who watch the show?
I do care about the people who watch the show, Mars. I care that they have an enjoyable time. I also realize that everybody needs somebody to hate on. And I do want to say this. People love to hate on people that they think are smart. People love it. They really love it. They sit at home, in their, hold on. Let me get this out, Mars. They sit at home with their ice cream out in their tighty whities, and they're sitting there and they're like, this dummy Penn, he's so stupid. And it's just like, I'm smart.
Penn, once again, it ain't nothing wrong.
But it makes you feel a little bit. It makes you feel a little bit better about your life to call me stupid, right?
I'm happy you brought that up, Penn, because that's another thing. He didn't have to do Brian. He didn't have to do Brian Windhurst like that.
I know.
I'm saying though, like, what did Brian Windhurst do to anybody?
I agree.
What did he do Brian Windhorst like?
What triggered the Brian Windhorst memory for you? Was it the ice cream?
Yeah, I think so.
My bad.
Yeah, well, once again, chat, regardless of what LeBron said and regardless of what Penn is saying, there's nothing wrong with being on your mama's dirty ass couch with your dirty ass drawers on, eating some strawberry shortcake, whatever ice cream you like, rainbow sherbet, whatever it is you eat. There ain't nothing wrong with that. So after the panel, I might get to it too. But in the meantime, we got a member by the name of Them Dolly became a member. Shout out to Them Dolly. Pop Skills sent through a super chat and said, you could tell who's chronically online. Swiper, that prison investment thing was long debunked. Wrong, Michael Jordan. Jeez, that was some white guy.
Not even talking about the same thing.
Right. But Swiper, you know what though? What's funny is that was my excuse back when I was younger for not wearing J's when I couldn't afford them. When I was like, I'm not buying them shits. He invests in prisons. Got me some money. hey, chill. I got me some money. I said, fuck them prisons. Nigga, what?
I ain't wearing them shit. Jordan he want to see black people in jail. That's really not what's going on, but I'm gonna say that.
I bought fake Jordan. My mom got me.
Like,
fake
man, I'm not
Jordan.
buying no
My Jumpman fell off. My Jumpman fell off during the game. My mom bought me fake Jordans, bro. That's my sad childhood.
Shin sent through a super chat and said, Penn is being disingenuous. He said, respect all eras. He said Bob Cousy was in a great era, or was great in his era.
I didn't say nothing about Bob Cousy. You just lying. You must be a gifted fan.
What is with these shots at Gifted, dog? I just think it's funny.
No, it is smoke right now, Swiper.
Gifted is not
even concerned about you anymore. It is smoke right now. All right, y'all. Z Greatness Gaming sent through a member chat and said the best player to never make an All-Star or All-NBA. Chill, who you got?
Ron Harper.
Jamal Murray. What? Jamal Murray? No, that's not bad.
I think he's better than Ron Harper. So,
what?
Yeah.
I remember Ron Harper. I've defended Ron Harper multiple times. I very much do.
He might be better than Ron Harper Jr.
Sure. Okay. All right.
Oh, okay.
You're entitled to your opinions.
Either him or Lamar.
Ron's good.
Kareem NYK 2001 sent through a members chat and said Jay-Z or Nas and Luka or Tatum, each panelist. So who y'all got between these two?
Nas and JT.
Nas and Luka. I got Jay-Z and Luka.
Who you got, Chill?
Nas and Jason Tatum.
Swiper?
Neither and Luka.
Neither.
I got Jay and Luka. One unemployment sent through a super chat and said, I'm talking about the man on the Lakers. I'm asking you to say his name.
Dub Christian Coloco.
Kent Lipscomb Jungla said Tim Duncan top 5 and Tim Duncan better. Don't argue with me. Argue with John D. Castle, hashtag Castle Rookie of the Year, hashtag Area 51.
It's funny because I've really said some things about Tim Duncan that would make you guys think I'm a lot higher on him defensively. So I'm a Tim Duncan guy, man. I think I'm a Tim Duncan guy. I'm not the guy to argue with.
Shout out Timmy D. King Bo, Otis Man, said, why is every in the West?
Why is every in the West? Would you focus, Ron? God,
why
that's a grammatical error.
Why is every team in the West just able to be OKC whenever y'all have these conversations? No, that was not true.
And we ain't saying that. Nobody's saying that. I don't think there's anybody up here saying that every team in the West could be Oklahoma City. Because I don't think Houston could be Oklahoma City. I don't think Memphis could beat Oklahoma City. I don't think Sacramento could beat Oklahoma City. So I don't understand where that's coming from.
Your Highness Charles said, I seen both LeBron and Jordan putting up triple doubles in them all-white Diddy parties. Stephen A. just mad he ain't get the invite.
So you seen him? You was there with him?
That's what it sounded like to me. That's exactly what it sounded like to me. You were there.
Ain't nothing wrong with going to a Diddy party, y'all.
Gandhi KV2 said, Ant is a better shooter this year, and they still have 2 elite 7-footers. Don't count them out.
Hey, am I ridiculous to say, because we saw Ant improve his long ball shooting, and I heard Ant say a lot about watching film. Is it ridiculous for me to think that Ant next year comes back as a 7 or 8 assists a game guy? Is that ridiculous to think? Considering
he processes the game that well, still. But that doesn't stop him from being a top 5 player. He could still be a top 5 player and not do that.
A playoff series.
Did we see him? Did you see him, Ron? Did you see him last year being a 40+% long ball shooter coming into the season?
Not at all.
And he's talking about he watches a lot of Luka film, and I'm thinking to myself, sound like he's trying to learn how to process the game and get off the pill better. So is it ridiculous for me to think that he might come back next year?
Have you ever seen a player go from being his level to 8 assists without killing your team level? I don't think so. I have seen players go from like 32% to 40% 3-point shooters. I have seen that. I've seen Vince Carter become a lot better as a 3-point shooter. I see Kobe Bryant get a lot better as a 3-point shooter. I thought Tracy get a lot better as a 3-point shooter. There's a lot of players who got better. Grant Hill got better as a 3-point shooter. Not on high volume.
And I've seen guys get better as distributors and as playmakers.
They can get marginally better. RJ Barrett got a lot better this year too. Way better. But I don't know.
Penn, he had a drastic change. Like think about what you just said. To go from being a 32% long ball shooter to 40, that's a huge difference. That is a huge difference.
Dante Bryant said, who y'all think Portland should draft this year? Also chill on Ron Harper Jr., a Rutgers legend. Shout out Ron Harper Jr.
Rutgers legend. Yeah, he played there one season. He a Rutgers legend. Where?
No, he played there longer. He's not talking about Dylan Harper. He's talking about Ron Harper's other season.
Oh, Ron Harper Jr. Yeah, okay.
Oh, big news.
Yeah.
Penn, the Sundance Film Festival is moving to Boulder, Colorado in 2027 after 40 years in Utah.
That's amazing.
Huge news. That's much better venue, by the way.
That's a much better venue?
Much better venue.
It was in Park City, I think.
Yes, it was in Park City with Slam Dance for a long time.
Boulder is beautiful, y'all. Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily even a fan of Utah, so that's cool. That's much better, and I think it'll be like much better for the attendees.
And you can stay in Denver if you want to. You know.
That's big. That's big for economy, man. There's a lot of people that go to Sundance.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to have a conversation too, Swipe, about me jumping on a bird when the Mets come to town. I might have to do that.
Please, telling y'all, Atlanta's a good time.
I've been in Atlanta before, but go ahead, Brown. I'm sorry.
Medved said in the playoffs, Jokic elevates his game while SGA regresses and gets less free throws.
I mean, it stands to be seen if SGA can elevate like that. He did elevate in the second round.
Yes,
first round, no. But first round, no. But second round, yes.
DSG Piccolo said, thank you, Bron, for confirming PDX won the Wemby lottery and Silver made the decision. Also, Ox, y'all better be ready. Gonna be a good battle tonight.
Y'all got Portland.
We own one. I went to the game up here when the Kings came up here and played, and they got at us.
Who's watching?
I think that was J-Val and Zach's first. No, Zach. Yeah, Zach did. That was J-Val and Zach's first game with us. So hopefully we beat the hell out of them.
Who's watching the NBA tonight with March Madness happening? Sweet 16.
I don't understand.
I'm watching a little bit of both.
You gotta have in March. You gotta have 9 screens, y'all. Get your TV, step your TV game up.
It's really all it is. Go buy a couple extra TVs, y'all. Medved said Lakers will be fine when LeBron retires and they free up $50 million in cap space.
I don't even think paying LeBron $50 million to be a top 7-8 player in the league right now is a bad deal. LeBron's giving him a good deal right now.
I think you're right. But also, I think we should also recognize that they didn't. I think we were just really quick to just jump to that conclusion. I don't think they got Luka for Bron. I don't think they got Luka for JJ. I think they got Luka for JJ. You know what I'm saying? For the future. I don't think this was a Bron move, although it's obviously going to affect Bron in a positive way. I don't think. You know what I'm saying? I know Bron's very important, but I don't think the Lakers are necessarily focusing on him right now.
Just got an update. Gary Payton II, he sustained a torn ligament in his left thumb. He's going to be out for an indefinite amount of time. So, who knows how long into the playoffs that'd be.
He's a good player, Ox, and they need him.
I don't doubt that he's a good player.
Hanzo with the members chat said Kendrick Perkins wasting his special move that early is crazy. You can't call LeBron racist immediately. You got to wait it out.
You know who's always calling people racist?
Racist.
Swiper, please don't say it. Please don't say that shit, Swiper.
As you were saying, Ron, you were saying something, Ron?
Hip name Slickback said, we can say all we want, quote unquote, watching the game versus gossip. But this is what people want. Just look at politics. This is what media is today.
Mm-hmm.
Media is a bunch of gossip.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm not mad at I don't know if we want to call it a war, but the war between players and media and new media and all that. I'm not mad at it at all. I think it's necessary. I think they need to hash it out so that we can get to a place of understanding. We got to find middle ground. You know what I'm saying? We need balance. I think right now is just a time where they hash it out. You know what I mean? So let's let them slug it out and get it over with.
We need some adults in the room across the level.
I agree.
That's what I agree. Anyway.
It's not that I want to chill. It's not that I want to chill. I'm just saying, like, I think it's been bubbling up for long enough. Don't y'all think so?
Just because something is necessary, two things could be true, Ox. You could want something and it's necessary.
Right. Well, I'm not saying. Well, that's the thing, though, chill. I don't think I want that, but it's here.
Yeah.
You know,
so let's do it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's I think it's okay for us to talk about. I just think that we got to get away from that thought that everything is gonna be okay and everybody's gonna love everybody, and you shouldn't say that. You're gonna hurt somebody's feelings. I think we got to
get to the bottom of it. Let's get to the bottom of it. Sure.
Yeah. Especially right now, like where NBA is so big, media is so big, media is changing. Everybody got a voice. I think it's a matter of time. You know, KD been kind of doing this for the last couple of years. Joel Embiid. Everybody, you know, have a little thing. Draymond Green, even though Draymond's on both sides of the fence, you know what I'm saying? I think it's about time.
He's definitely a double agent. Let's make sure that we're clear on that. Draymond is a double agent. Yes, he is.
And who better chill than I mean, regardless of how y'all feel about Stephen A. Smith, he's at the top of this media stuff. You know what I'm saying? And LeBron is still at the top of this basketball thing. So might as well let them two kick it off and get it over with, bro. So we could just move on to basketball.
That's like saying I'm on the top of the game in the NBA and you on the top of the game with curling. One of these two things is not the same, right?
It's not. No, it's not. Pin. What the hell does curling got to do with basketball? Media in basketball, they directly correlate. Curling and basketball never cross paths. One is a sport in the Winter Olympics. The other one is a Summer Olympics.
At least they're both sports, Ox. At least they're both sports. Have you seen Stephen A. Smith hoop? You could knock him to the last century. Okay.
Did you see him throwing them things?
Look,
I know one thing. I know LeBron better be cool before Stephen A put them paws on him for real.
All I'm saying is saying LeBron at the top of his industry, Stephen A. Smith on top of his industry. You're not talking about the same industry. You're not talking about the same paycheck. You're not talking about the same anything. Okay.
Well, Penn, LeBron is in the media now, though.
They directly correlate, man.
Well, no, LeBron's in the media now, though, too.
LeBron's
he is a player that's now in the media
game. He's great because of his NBA game. And
I understand that, but he still is going to have one of the top podcasts when he does it.
Why is one better than the other? Why is one higher than the other? Why is Bron up here and Stephen A right here? Because one runs and the other one writes. One shoots, the other one talks.
Money talks, Ox. Who made more money for doing
what you say? Money. See, Penn, I'm not about to do that dumb shit. Like the person that makes more money ain't better. The person that makes more money ain't smarter. The person that makes more money isn't more of a man.
So you think that Stephen A. Smith? Okay, they both related to basketball, right? Do you believe that
even they've been doing this shit longer than Bron?
Hang on. There's a lot of people that contribute to basketball, right? Hubie Brown contributed to basketball. Dick Vitale contributed to basketball. There's a lot of people that contributed to basketball, right? We can agree with that.
Yeah, but I don't want to argue.
Okay, you saying that Stephen A. Smith on top of his game, LeBron on top of his game. Would you say that Stephen A. Smith's contributions to basketball through his 20+ career, actually 25+ year career, going back to his coverage of Philly, all his national coverage?
Yes, I do.
You believe it is close to LeBron's contributions?
Yes, I do.
Okay, then we can't even have a conversation.
It's different contributions, though. LeBron contributed on the court. Stephen A. contributed a hell of a lot.
As much as people hate on Stephen A. just because he didn't average a lot of points in his Division III college or whatever career that people want to laugh about, just because of that, and just because Stephen A. holds brothers accountable for talking about get off the weed, they want to call him a sellout and all that types of dumb shit, whatever it is with Stephen A. Just because of that does not mean Stephen A. did not pave way. Stephen A.'s done a lot for the media aspect of sports. You can you don't gotta accept it, but it's just true, bro.
Hey, First Take ran the game for what? 10 straight years?
A long time.
Darren Foss said, "Get off your knees." It absolutely was disrespectful to past players.
I agree with that.
100%. I just think that if they can say past players could come in and dominate, the players that are playing now could say that they could go to past eras and dominate. So if it's disrespectful that we're doing it or they're doing it, it should be disrespectful on the other side. That's all.
Respect your elders, Sean D. Respect your elders.
If an elder's not respecting me, I'm not going to respect the elder.
That's a fact.
I get what you're saying, but I feel like
there's two ends of the swords when it comes to respect. Like if I have to turn on my TV and hear that this guy that's playing in the 70s would come into where I play basketball and how I know how hard the game is today and say that they would dominate, I have the same right to say I can go back in time and dominate in that era.
Look, I understand
if you feel that way. If you just saying it out of spite or just being petty, then that's crazy.
If you feel that way, say it. Like I'm sure the people who are saying that they can go to the era and dominate. I'm sure they feel generations.
We're from different generations, right? But my view on this is Larry, Magic, Reggie, Kareem, all these dudes, they built up a league, right? And they built it up for a lot less money than these players are making right now. So to me, if I'm a player today, and I'm not a player today, but if I was a player today and I was benefiting off of the work that they did, and I know I'm getting paid 100 times more, 50 times more than Scottie Pippen's getting paid, and I'm not a better player than Scottie Pippen, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to have a lot of respect for Scottie Pippen for creating this advantage for me. I'm not going to shit on him and tell him he played against plumbers and firemen. Again, it takes a real dickhead to do something like that. It takes a real JJ Redick to do something like that, to call a previous generation plumbers and firemen when you were a one-dimensional shooter who could barely defend his own position. There's a lot of people in the 70s who would have cooked the shit out of JJ Redick. Let me tell you that. Okay, but he's acting like they're plumbers and firemen, and that's not surprising to me. The birds of a feather flock together because JJ Redick and LeBron James see the game exactly the same way.
So, all right, if I was, go ahead.
Ben One TV said MJ not worried about Bron, but agreed to participate in the Last Dance after a 3-1 comeback and release it during the bubble. Don't forget about MJ Day 2.
So are y'all insinuating that MJ did the Last Dance to shit on Bron? Is that what that super chat was saying?
I'm sure LeBron thinks so.
All right.
Your Highness Charles said, according to Brian Windhorst, teams are reluctant to help the Lakers because Luka will be a free agent next year and they want him to walk. Thoughts?
I think Luka's staying in LA. Like I think we're past that. Yeah, I think we're past that. I think he's staying in LA.
All right. War V Room said, how you know someone is a real hater is when they make someone seem like an evil genius so they can assign underlying reasons to mundane statements.
Mundane. And they're not mundane statements. They're measured. LeBron is a very calculated, intelligent, and very measured individual. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. He has curated his entire persona, his entire reputation. From every single clip you have seen of him online, from every ad, everything is perfectly curated. And he said it. I didn't want to mess this up. And I respect that. He's done a great job. But everything is curated. Everything is measured. And LeBron does not speak without reason. Everything he says, there's a meaning to it. And he's not just yapping to yap. Okay. If he says 10 words, there's a reason for those 10 words.
So you don't think it was no mundane statements?
Bron, it's mundane.
You don't think Bron ever did any yapping before?
I don't feel LeBron I don't feel like
he was
anything
yapping when he was doing the not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
He said that. He said he said that he got ahead. He said he got ahead of himself. He said that.
He was yapping.
He was capping, but
he said that.
Yapping.
He said he got ahead of himself. Dwayne Wade said it too.
Yo, you better believe that he rehearsed that statement 20 times before he said it. Not 1, not 2, not you think you just came up with that? No. That's presented.
Never mind, bro.
How do I know? I'm guessing. It's an educated guess, Ox. 83.3% of the time I'll be cooking.
I do that shit all the time, Pin. I'll just be
5 out of 6 times.
I'll be yapping. I'll be yapping. 30% of the time I'm yapping. So that's okay, Pin. I ain't mad at you.
1K David said, I never want to hear PC and ESPN are different again. The same shit.
It looks like we on a come up then, fellas.
We just talking ball. I mean, they talk ball over there, we talk ball over here. You know what I'm saying? I just hate the anti-ESPN thing. I don't understand it.
Meanwhile, they watch it every day.
Honestly, it's very.
I would never get on board with this anti-ESPN thing, anti-Sports Center, anti-First Take, anti all of that shit. They don't know ball. Y'all in here talking about these dudes don't know ball. They don't know basketball because they disagree.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't know ball.
But they watch the shit every day. This is so goofy, man. It's just
you know what I'm saying? You disagree with this shit so much. Maybe you don't know ball.
Yeah. How about that?
Think about that. No, you don't know ball.
I think they're very different. I think they're
this
very
food
different.
sucks, but I'm gonna keep eating it. Get the fuck out of here.
You definitely haven't heard this much about the Houston Rockets or the Denver Nuggets on ESPN.
No, you haven't.
Or the Raptors.
You have not.
Or Fred VanVleet. None of this. You don't get none of this. Everything ESPN, Bronny, LeBron, Giannis, Jokic. That's it. Barely Jokic. Is Shea overrated? Is Shea underrated? Are the Milwaukee Bucks done? Yeah.
I mean, with that being said, I don't watch that shit, but it's not because I think they don't know ball.
I do.
You sitting here talking about how great ESPN is. You don't even watch ESPN.
I didn't say it was great. All I said is it's crazy to be anti-ESPN, Pin. Just because I said it's that we shouldn't be against it, just talking about we don't know ball doesn't mean that I love it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't got time to sit around watching ESPN and Sports Center.
I don't have time I don't have time to sit around watching people talk about teams that they don't watch. How about that? So if I want straight hoop talk about the Denver Nuggets or the Detroit Pistons, I'm going right to the local people and I'm saying these are the people actually watching the game. That's what I want to listen to. I'm not trying to get these superficial takes about, I watched 12 seconds of an Atlanta Hawks highlight.
All right, chill.
And this is Trey. You listen to some of these people on ESPN when they're talking about this game. It's like they don't provide a lot of them. I'm not saying everybody. A lot of them don't provide anything insightful. I was listening to John Wall on NBA TV the other day. Bro, John Wall talked 2 minutes of nonsense about nothing. Literally nothing he said in that clip told me he had watched that team play even once.
Damn, it was mundane.
It was very mundane, yo. It was very mundane.
Damn, Johnny. Your Highness Charles said, can we all just agree that both LeBron and Stephen A are attention 304s? Can we talk about serious topics like SGA's aura? So he wants to talk about an ESPN topic. And also, what's an attention 304?
What's a Zesty Jeffrey? I don't know where these terms come up. I googled Zesty Jeffrey. I found nothing but that dude talking the entire time. He's the only person in the world.
Jeffrey is. I don't know what attention 304 is.
Zesty Jeffrey is the only person. He has coined that into existence. That's amazing. Because anybody who Google what is a Zesty Jeffrey goes right to his platform. That's smart. That's some smart shit. Yo, we need to.
Nobody would ever Google that.
I had to Google that. I don't know what the hell a Zesty Jeffrey was. And apparently, it's people
so you
who
Googled it for real?
For sure, I Googled it. I was like, what the hell is a Zesty Jeffrey? And why is he calling my man Jordan a Zesty Jeffrey?
Yeah, man. Shout out to all the Zesty Jeffreys and shout out to all the 304.
Hey, Ron, didn't I tell you, bro? Didn't I tell you about that Zesty Jeffrey shit?
All right, y'all. 1K David said, Penn is genuinely... All right, man. LeVar B. Ballin said, we got to move on. Penn is yapping. Let's talk about some games. Fuck LeBron and Stephen A. Swift. Penn, make a tinfoil 1-hour video about it on your channel.
It's nothing tinfoil about
I might record a video for it after this, but I'm still debating.
Shit, hey, John D, go get that money. Shit, hey. Just make sure it's not mundane, but go ahead, do your thing. Your Highness Charles said, wait, Swiper, the same LeBron that gets money from Chinese slave labor and deals with companies that are anti-Palestine.
Palestine, Ron. Palestine.
Tomato, mundane, Palestine.
Red fish, blue fish.
It's a sensitive topic for a lot of people. Some people might find that very offensive. And I know you're very, you're a very smart guy. So.
It's just my accent from time to time.
Soapfish,
that's Seattle accent, a Washington accent. All right.
Yeah, we pronounce things a little differently up here.
Morton's, Roof, Chris, all this shit.
Your Highness Charles said LeBron been ducking. I really don't know how to pronounce this. I don't. Shell Sonnen.
Yeah, that's the fighting name.
Shell Sonnen with the needle in them Diddy parties. Y'all out here defending a billionaire? Name me the ethical billionaire on earth.
The ethical billionaire on earth. Is Warren Buffett ethical?
We don't know. I don't know.
He certainly seems like it. I have no idea if he is. But yeah.
Another one from Your Highness Charles said, do y'all think Stephen A. and LeBron are on the phone right now laughing at us? They said first take ratings today were record highs. This is scripted. And keep in mind, once again, Bron is getting back into the media world with his little podcast with Steve Nash.
So you think he's just setting himself up for post-playing life by creating all this beef? Yo.
No, like Bron,
let me just say one thing.
Do you not know about that?
His Hall of Fame speech is gonna be legendary.
Yes, it is.
I'll never know. I won't watch that shit. So
I'm going to watch that shit in full. I ain't even
I've never watched a Hall of Fame or MVP speech before in my life.
I actually haven't either. I've seen snippets. I've never just sat and just watched.
Like when I heard when they was talking about Mommy the real MVP, I'm like, I don't.
You should watch Arvydas Sabonis. It was very short, very sweet, and very.
I can't understand what that nigga talking about.
He's speaking English, Ox. Speaking perfectly crystal clear English.
Oh, all right, so we gotta go, y'all. Hey, we gotta go. Teddy Hart with the last super chat of the day. He said, "Did y'all know that Michael Jordan had his own Oprah-style show, albeit short run, called Michael Jordan's Airwaves in 1989? Ran locally on WLS TV in Chicago. MJ really was new media before new media.
The GOAT, man. The GOAT. He pioneering shit, man.
All right, y'all. We're going to be back tomorrow. It's going to be another good episode. We'll be recapping all the games tonight. We'll also be recapping the NCAA tournament. And in the meantime, make sure you get the right ice cream to pair with your whitey tighties and watch these NCAA games. I promise you it will not be mundane. All right, y'all. Let's go, Duke. On the flip side.
Peace.